Rexroad got to redo his old roster thing, and add the Michigan State.
He was already excited about that. But here's the cool thing about this move. He was on the practice squad with Kansas City and Detroit last season, but he played 9 games for the Pittsburgh Maulers of the USFL, had 36 tackles this year. We've started to see some signings around the league of players that played in the USFL, which to me is whether the league makes it or not, or the XFL actually comes back, all these spring leagues. But the fact that guys are at least getting a shot at the NFL after playing in the USFL, that's a good sign.
Yeah, it is. It's and this is what was going on with NFL Europe, where guys would be on the practice squad, at the beginning of the football season, NFL season. Once the season was over with, the bad part about it is they never really got a break, but they were able to go to NFL Europe, which was, affiliated with the NFL. They would go over there, get some experience with some coaches that had coached in the NFL. So they were running systems that they probably were used to, and just getting those extra reps that they needed. It was sort of like a spring ball for them.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they're tired, but they are a little bit more experienced once they come back for camp.
This is what I have always been curious about. I brought this up when the league started, and I be honest, I did not watch 1 quarter of a game in full for the USFL, even though
I did. It wasn't.
I did. It wasn't that bad.
The original USFL, I can tell you everything about the history. Right, the 3 years, I can tell you who won it. I can tell you who all the quarterbacks were. I can tell you a lot of the coaches. I followed that league very closely, which says a lot about my teenage years.
Yeah.
Right. I guess I had a lot of free time watching whatever was on ESPN. But I have thought, wouldn't that be a huge attraction to that league if they could get a number of people who won jobs in the NFL, and then the next step would be, let me take my prospects from my practice squad, if I'm the Titans, for example, or my draft picks, and say, let's have these guys play in the USFL to get valuable experience. I had said it before. What if Malik Willis played in the USFL? Wouldn't he be further advanced now? Now, of course, you would say there's a chance he could get hurt. Absolutely. But a guy has got to play, and he's got to develop. So what's the fastest way for him to develop? Wouldn't that arguably be a really good track for him if he played 8 games, or even if he just said, look, I just need him to play 4 games. No, I want to see him under center. I want to see him run a huddle. I want to see him do the things that we know he's eventually got to do here.
Yeah, I think it would only help him. And the prospect of him getting hurt, I think it's minimal at that position because of the rules, even in the USFL, the rules to protect the quarterback. But it would be a good situation for him to go there. And, it has to be one where the team, the agent, and the player all discuss it in the head,
and agree on
listen, this is what we want to happen. This is not a sort of a bad thing, but we figure it will help you in your development. Like you said, even if it's playing X amount of games, it helps in the development of a quarterback. So, I mean, will it happen? I don't know. But now but what you are seeing is players that played in the USFL, they are getting shots with the NFL.
And you have this, Chase. You had this. I remember when the pandemic hit and there was talk about moving the football season to the spring to buy some time.
Right.
Hey, let's play in the spring, and then we'll just go back to the fall. And some people are like, oh, you couldn't possibly do this. It's a safety issue. You can't play a spring season, then ask those guys to come back and play a fall season. Well, that's what these guys are doing. They just played a spring season, and they're trying to make an NFL roster. So I guess it can be done, right? It may not be the easiest thing on your body, but I think it could be done. So that if I'm the USFL, I want that to be my calling card. Hey, watch these guys play. These guys are potential NFL players. I think that's the niche, and I think the best model of all might be to have a relationship, a partnership with the NFL, where you could put some future prospects in that league and say, watch your practice squad guys, watch your developmental guys, try to get some experience here. I think as a Titan fan, I would be much more apt to watch that than just the Birmingham Stallions, whoever's playing.
Yeah, I definitely think, if you know that it's connected to the NFL and there's some guys, because I think the Malik Willis thing is very interesting. If the Titans draft him, they own his rights, but then they say, hey, go play. You're going to go play a season in the USFL where you actually get meaningful reps. Then we're not sitting here having that, okay, are they going to design packages for him? Is he going to be the backup? Yada, yada, yada. How much is he going to play in the preseason? I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could get some stuff done with having a quote-unquote minor league for the NFL. It's always felt like there's just been this reluctancy to go into it full bore and do it.
Well, I know why it is. It's all about the injury aspect of it. And, how close does it run up to actual, NFL season? And then, it's okay, well, I want my players to be here during minicamp, so they can learn my playbook. So there's not an easy way. If you indeed try to do this, there's no easy way to do it. It just has to be one of those deals where the club say, okay, this person right here, we're going to concentrate on him getting better, which means we're going to send him to the USFL. We're not going to worry about, making sure he's here for minicamp. Just send him to the USFL. Let him play some games, get some experience, and then come back. So, but that's always the tricky part because you can't send, 5 or 6 people there from your roster, some rookies or whatnot, because
it'd have to be almost a case by case.
You want them to be there in camp when it opens, at least for mini camps.
You're an interesting case study on this because of how your career started and where you were drafted. That what it would have been like if the USFL or a league like this had been around. I want to ask you something specific though coming up next because I think this is a very interesting conversation. Also, Kyler Murray, there is an update with his contract that is bizarre. We will discuss that coming up next. It's Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on a Friday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
If you're on the road between downtown Nashville,
they're still in good shape to make the playoffs.
And I-840.
Players make it clear they don't want to be somewhere anymore.
There's a new way to hear all your favorite shows and sports programming on 102.5 The Game.
And he has added players that do fit.
What I was worried about is that they were still just going to keep the goal.
It's 106.3 FM.
Think about all the good Titans teams.
This is very much so a run-first offense.
Now you have 2 choices to hear Nashville's best sports talk. Check out 106.3 now and add it as a favorite.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now, 615-576-5000.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Ford. When this hot summer weather comes, I'm reminded of what my grandmother used to say. It's so hot outside, the hens are using pot holders to pick up the worms. I was never really sure what that meant, but when she said it, I knew it was hot. I mean, if things are hot, that tells you something, and it's not always good. Take your car, for example. If it's running hot, something's wrong. If your air conditioner, like so many people, is blowing hot these days, something's wrong. When your tires get hot, they wear out faster, which means something's wrong. But here at Newton, we want to help right those wrongs. We have an amazing service department that'll keep your car running its best through all this heat. We have amazing technicians ready to diagnose and repair your car no matter what the problem is. We want to keep your car running smoothly in the easiest way possible. So let us help. Schedule your service online today at newtonford.com.
Hiller's Home of the Free is back with more free giveaways than ever. This month, get a free programmable thermostat with select new HVAC systems. Get a free home surge protector with a whole home generator. Or enjoy a free water sensor leak detector with any tankless water heater. Better yet, we'll include interest-free financing and a free Happy Hiller Club membership with these purchases. Celebrate the Home of the Free with us at happyhiller.com.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Harman Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Harman Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Harman. Visit HarmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
We're live at the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, Derek Mason with you, watching the Kyler Murray stuff on First Take. We'll get to that in just a second. Also, Zach Cunningham coming up when Titans practice are done. But I want to ask Derek this. So let's say your rookie year, which was 1997, the Tennessee Oilers, their first year in Memphis, but in the state of Tennessee. You were predominantly the kick returner and punt returner for that team. You played a handful of games at receiver. I think you had maybe 30 targets. But a fourth-round pick, you make the team because of special teams. Do you feel like that your career would have changed at all if you had had some sort of – if they had said, like, Derek, hey, look, we're we'll see what happens in training camp, but we want you to play – we just drafted you out of Michigan State. Floyd's like, hey, we want you to go play in this minor league to get some extra experience. Do you think that would have helped you at all going into the early years of your career, or would it have made a difference?
I don't think it would have made a difference because, my thought pattern then was, hey, I just need to do whatever I need to do to show them, when I get in camp that I can play, knowing the playbook, and doing what I was supposed to do, being where I was supposed to be when I was supposed to be there. That's on the field and off the field. But it helped me that I was able to sit back and learn and watch other guys in front of me. I was able to watch what they did right and the things that they did wrong. Able to learn from them from that aspect. I don't know if it would have helped me any going to whether it be NFL Europe, if the USFL was around. I don't know. It's one of those deals, man, seriously. It's a tough pill to swallow as a player, especially when you're drafted in those first 4 rounds. It's a tough pill to swallow if they came to you and say, hey, well, we want you to – it may be a good idea for you to go to, say, NFL Europe or whatnot. I would have done it had they asked me, but it still would have been a tough pill to swallow. But, I look back in my career and I was grateful that I got a chance to play early my first year, but then I was able to sit back and watch and learn and hone in on my skills because ultimately it helped me once I got an opportunity to become a starter in this league. So it was one of those deals where I was always prepared. When I got the opportunity, I didn't have to get ready. I was ready to go out there and play.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah, you're right about that. So, some guys, it helped because we had some guys that went to NFL Europe.
Sure.
During my early playing days when the NFL Europe was up. But I saw how tired they were when they came back. It was –
So it does take its toll.
It does take a toll on you. Yeah, it takes a toll on you, man.
That's the thing I would be curious about. Now, Tim Hasselbeck said his experience in NFL Europe he thought was essential to him making it as a backup quarterback. He felt it kept him in the league longer. It advanced him in his development. So maybe it would be different for a quarterback than somebody who takes the pounding week in, week out, receiver, lineman, linebacker. That's a fair question with my theory.
Yeah, it is. And that's the other thing, too. Would it be more beneficial if you had a league that, was corresponding with the NFL, played at the same time, instead of a practice squad, you had a minor league squad?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. You could actually call up a player almost like Milwaukee is to the Predators, et cetera, or the Sounds are to the Brewers.
And basically have a clause in place that you can't, as a player in either league, you can't play more than 17 games.
But who pays the players? That's the thing. Like, the owners would like, I'm not paying another 85 guys or 45 guys, whatever it is.
It doesn't even have to be that many. It's a scaled down season. Maybe it's like 7 games.
But you don't have 30. You don't need 32 minor league teams.
Yeah, and you don't have all those teams. You just take a collection of players that are on your practice squad, or the whole NFL, and you sort of You sort of kind of divvy it up based upon that. You don't say, well, we got to have 32 teams because we got to have 32 minor league teams because there's 32 teams. No, just let's put the players together and then decide how many teams we need.
You could have 8.
You could have 8 teams. And
so you actually be on a team that you might be playing against down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's interesting.
You do see that like that.
Yeah. But it's not affiliated with the specific team. It's just affiliated with the NFL.
And
it's not like it's not like the Tennessee Titans has their minor league team. No, Tennessee Titans have the NFL has their minor league system.
So they're all free agents.
Yeah.
Now, would there be a waiver system, or is it just first come, first serve? I saw Derek play really well in that developmental league on Sunday. I want to call him up and give him a contract.
No, what it is that right now the NFL you're allowed up to 15 practice squad players, 16 practice squad players. Well, you take it, you have a draft based upon those 16 players on each team. So 16 times 32, you will come up with enough players to play.
But see, I don't even think you have to do that. I mean, I think let's just say Des Fitzpatrick. I'll use him as an example. All right. They determined last year that, hey, he's not ready. He needs more time. The Titans own his rights.
Yes.
The Titans say we're going to designate him to the development league. And he goes and he plays on the Chattanooga Spitfires of the development league or whatever. And
powerhouse team.
But he still, even though he might be playing with somebody that, is owned by the Cowboys, the Titans still own his rights. Like, you don't even have to have this draft. It just, you have 8 development teams that will play games against each other. And you could have them close to NFL cities if you wanted to limit costs. You could use college stadiums or
heck, you can use
even
NFL.
high school.
Yeah, you can use NFL stadiums. I mean, listen, you have 16 players, 32 teams, that's 500 and something players. Then you divide that. Say if you want to need 8 teams. Well, you got 64 players on each roster. You don't even have that many on the NFL roster.
Right.
So you can actually do it and while developing your players. It's feasible. It's just, the numbers are there, but it's just, okay, how do we kind of put this all together? Because there are going to be guys that, that may get called up, and there are guys that may get, put on a practice squad during the season, during that, whether it be an 8-game season, I don't know. But you have guys get called up and guys get put back down in regards to your practice squad. But then here's another question, because we're thinking of all these great things the NFL can do.
I love this.
Well,
I love this kind of
what happens? Who's going to do the scout team duties?
That's the thing. It changes
game
the
week,
system.
yeah.
And so that's a fair point. That's why I still think the spring model, maybe you even shorten it. Maybe it's a 6-game schedule instead of 9 or 10, whatever it was. So the wear and tear is not as much. You can get your guys in, get your guys out, and then evaluate them at the end of the season. I don't know. It's a great idea. I feel like there's some way to develop players better than is currently the case.
I agree.
And you want to see guys in game action as much as you can.
Yeah.
Especially quarterbacks. So
Right.
so you have a better feel for your second string, your third string quarterback, your developmental guy like Malik Willis.
See, we always think of stuff like this after we have John Robinson or somebody on. I mean, I'd love his opinion on this, but
we'll just call him up, get him back on just for one question about this. Can we do that?
Yeah.
It might be busy.
He's
in the bubble right now.
Let me text him real quick. See what he says about that. But I think it's an interesting conversation that I think you'd have some guys that it wouldn't matter.
Uh-huh.
But then you'd have some that it might have changed their careers.
Of course.
I mean, think about trying to think of some examples of
I know Chris Coleman went there, I believe. He went to NFL Europe, if I'm not mistaken, a wide receiver we had, I think like my 5th or 6th year in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it helped him out in his development. Ultimately, it didn't, after a few years, it didn't work out. But I'm sure that those years, if I can recall, I think he might have went over there once, but that year helped him in developing,
sure.
As a player.
There's some guys from the XFL that made it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Remember they had the wacky nicknames, He Hate Me and everything. I think He Hate Me made it, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he get back there? And Tommy Maddox was the MVP.
Tommy
and
Maddox.
He ended up getting more time in the NFL because of that.
Yeah, Tommy Maddox was the quarterback of the Steelers when Joe Nedney won the Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You just took a potential Titans training camp trivia question away. I wasn't going to use that. We actually brought that up before. But there will be some more Titans training camp.
We will. We'll have an opportunity
Yeah.
for you to win Elton John tickets later on today. All right, coming up next, we will get into the Kyler Murray contract saga and what has happened with that, because he has spoken about it, and I'm just going to leave it at that at this point. You will hear that coming up next. But first, it's Friday, and let me tell you, I'm glad it's Friday, and I know a lot of you are too. I'm going to go out and have a Screwball peanut butter whiskey because that's what I go to when I am out and about, and I ask for it in a shot, chilled. That's how I prefer it, but you can also have it on the rocks. You can have it as a espresso martini, a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur, a peanut butter old-fashioned. Those are really good too. You can go to screwballwhiskey.com for more recipes. But it goes down smooth. It's natural flavored. It's made with real peanuts, real peanut butter, and, of course, real whiskey. And that's what makes it an original and so darn good. So do like me, the suit, when you're out and about with your friends, ask for it by name, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, and also do like me. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022, Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Hey, Preds fans.
Running across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Nashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Well, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Tennessee's tax-free holiday is here. Head to Electronic Express this weekend for great deals on back-to-school essentials like laptops, tablets, printers, and more, all tax-free. This weekend only, get an Acer laptop for $229 or an Apple iPad for $449. Don't miss out on a Microsoft Surface Pro bundle for $899 or an HP laptop for $499. Shop in-store or online with free financing. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop in the Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, a dab bar at the Hendersonville location, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
Hey, I'm Matt Saggio. I moved to Nashville in 2008 and have seen this city grow each and every day. The entertainment industry is thriving, and it's exciting to work in. It's a lifestyle. I've been with Cromwell Media for almost 10 years now, and I'm proud to provide creative marketing ideas and develop solutions to help businesses grow and achieve their goals. Do you love helping people? Let's talk about you joining our team. Shoot us an email at together@cromwellmedia.com. That's together@cromwellmedia.com.
This is Stan Harrison of Apple Collision Centers. At this time, we would like to send our thoughts and prayers to the family of Mark Howard. Mark has been a staple of Nashville sports for as long as I can remember, and Mark will be dearly missed.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Sunday night.
Out of here! Nico Hoerner! Well, drives one to right. Out of here!
Sunday Night Baseball features the Cubs taking on the Giants in San Francisco. Coverage begins at 5 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase here on a Friday talking Kyler Murray. And this whole thing and how crazy it is that they had a clause in the contract that basically said he had to spend 4 hours in the playbook, and if he violated that, it could void the whole contract. And so now the Arizona Cardinals have basically come out and taken that out of the contract. After this is Adam Schefter put this out yesterday. After seeing the distraction it created, we removed the addendum from the contract. It was clearly perceived in ways that were never intended. Our confidence in Kyler Murray is as high as it ever has been, and nothing demonstrates our belief in his ability to lead this team more than the commitment reflected in this contract. BS. You got called out on it.
Well, what purpose does it serve now? It's already out there. Everybody has the perception of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
No. And quite honestly, Kyler Murray didn't really help himself.
Well, this was an agreement between the Cardinals and Kyler Murray.
I know.
So they can only blame themselves.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It truly is, because he wanted the deal. He got the deal. He knew it was in the contract. His agent knew it was in the contract. He signs the deal. Everybody's happy. Someone leaks this, and I'm sure it wasn't the Arizona Cardinals that leaked this. Someone leaked that, listen, it's mandatory for him to, watch 4 hours of film, total a week outside of what he watches inside of the building. If he does it, then he forfeits whatever it is, X amount of dollars. He knew that was in there in the first place, so they didn't just put that in there just to say, oh, we're just going to throw that in there. That's standard practice. We're just going to throw that in there because we've thrown it in there for all of our quarterbacks, even going back to Neil Lomax. We're going to throw it in for Neil Lomax as well. You know who I'm talking about, Willie.
He was a fantasy quarterback of mine. One of the first years I ever played fantasy football. I just remember drafting Neil Lomax.
We did it way back then, so we're going to do it, No. There's a reason why you put that in your clause. Like there's a reason why teams put weight clauses inside of, like, offensive linemen's contracts, especially a lineman that has had trouble with his weight, or
right,
defensive lineman.
Because they know the player.
Absolutely. So they put that in there just in case. It's a motivation.
Yes, incentive.
Well, it's motivation, and you know what else it is? CYA.
Exactly.
It's CYA for the team.
Absolutely, and you have to. So if they put that in the contract, you knew it was in the contract, you didn't think it was true, you'd have been like, whoa. Before I sign this, we need to take this portion out, because I study a lot. I do what I need to do as an NFL quarterback, but you didn't. You didn't ask for it to be removed.
No.
And you signed it.
Not only did he sign it, but he left the clause in there that said, if you, by the letter of the law, if you read the contract, that in theory they could have, in week 1, had him say, hey, look, we checked, Kyler, you only studied for 3 hours. You didn't do 4. So your contract, you're in breach of contract.
Yeah.
This contract is null and void. In theory, they could have done that.
Absolutely.
They never would, but that's pretty crazy. Like, why would an agent allow him to sign that?
That's what I want to know.
And that's what's crazy about this whole aftermath is they agreed to this.
Right. So Kyler Murray did address it. He did his media availability. This is about 3 minutes long, but I think it's an interesting clip to hear Kyler Murray
talking today because I feel it's necessary. With what's going on as far as regarding me and the things that are being said about me, it's almost to think that I can accomplish everything that I've accomplished in my career. And not be a student of the game, and not have that passion, and not take this serious is almost, it's disrespectful, and it's almost a joke. It's, to me, I'm flattered. I'm honestly flattered that y'all think that at my size I can go out there and not prepare for the game and not take it serious. It's disrespectful, I feel like, to my peers, to all the great athletes and great players that are in this league. This game's too hard. To play the position that I play in this league, it's too hard. And I don't do this often. I don't talk about myself, but today I feel like I have to. And so I'm going to list the accolades. To go 43-0 in high school in Texas. Some are going to say, oh, it's high school. That's cool, but nobody else has done it. Go to college, win the Heisman, get drafted number 1 overall to the NFL, get drafted number 9 overall to MLB. Again, no one's ever done it. Offensive Rookie of the Year, 2-time Pro Bowler. And I'm not 6'7", 230. I don't throw the ball 85 yards. I'm already behind the 8 ball, and I can't afford to take any shortcuts. No pun intended, but. Those things you can't accomplish if you don't take the game serious, if you don't prepare the right way, and it's like I said, it's laughable. But to the film side of things, there's multiple different ways to watch film. There's many different ways to process the game. There's many different ways quarterbacks learn the game and break the game down. Of course, I watch film by myself. That's a given. That doesn't even need to be said. But I do enjoy and love the process of watching the game with my guys, the quarterbacks, my coaches. And I think you can ask any quarterback around the league. The camaraderie in that room, the passion that goes into it. Every man in that room has a job. Every man contributes in different ways. And like I said, I think every player that has played the game, no matter the position, understands what I'm saying right now as far as everybody in your respective or your room having a job and contributing, So, again, reiterate that, there's multiple different ways to watch film. And, of course, we all watch film. Let's not, that doesn't need to be questioned. But it's, again, I refuse to let my work ethic, my preparation be in question. I've put an incomprehensible amount of time and blood, sweat, tears, and work into what I do, whether it's football or baseball. People can't even comprehend the amount of time that it takes to do 2 sports at a high level in college, let alone do it, be the first person to do it ever at my size. It's like I said, this is, it's funny, but to those of you out there that believe that I'd be standing here today in front of y'all without having a work ethic and without preparing, I'm honored that you think that, but it doesn't exist. It's not possible. It's not possible. So
there you go. Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals quarterback. So there's a lot of things that this has kind of reminded me of, but he's sitting there reading off his accolades, which the Cardinals have kind of forced him to do that because they let this get out that there was this clause in his contract that is, 4 hours of film study a week is really not that much.
No,
if you think about it,
especially for a quarterback.
Yeah, and so, but what it reminds me of, do you guys remember the story that came out with Jamarcus Russell that the Raiders gave him blank tapes to take home? And they said, "Hey, would you study on those tapes?"
Yes.
And he said blitz packages, and he never watched them
because obviously there were no blitz packages on the tape because nothing was on the tape.
There was a rumor that they had given him a playbook and they had put like $100 bills in it, and he never opened the playbook, and so he never saw that there were $100 bills in it. I mean, they were trying to do everything. So, is Kyler that bad? Because when I watch him, I watch Jamarcus Russell. He never did anything good in the NFL. I watch Kyler Murray. He's done quite a bit of good in the NFL. So clearly there is, to his point, he's putting in some work. I just don't understand why this has become a thing. Clearly, there's something behind the scenes that we didn't know that now we know.
I think people, when they look at the quarterback position, they look at it from the eyes of Brady, Manning, Breeze, these great quarterbacks that we hear, about, people saying, well, this person was here before everybody got here, before everybody got to the building, and these people were here when everybody left the building and were watching hours and tons of film. We're getting secondhand information about these quarterbacks. So that has forced us to look at quarterbacks through their eyes. Everybody has their own way, and he was right. Everybody has their own way that they process the football game. I was more of okay, I see what you're talking about. I can see it in the book. I got to go out and do it. I just can't sit in the classroom all day and I can do it and regurgitate it, but it's better for me if I'm actually out on the field running the plays. Then it truly sinks in, Every player is different. I knew a lot of players like myself, but then I knew a lot of players that needed the classroom, because they needed to, feel as if, okay, I'm getting all this stuff and it feels better to me as opposed to going out there. I have a much harder time at, learning it on the fly rather than in the classroom. So I think it's not a mistake of ours, but it's just how we've been programmed to look at the game through Peyton, Brady, Elway, all these guys that Breeze that we think that we've been told they watch countless amount of hours of film. Well, Kyler may not be that way. Not to say he's not watching film, but I blame no one but the Arizona Cardinals for this. Like, if you feel you have to put this in a man's contract, don't sign him. Really don't, because you're setting yourself up for failure.
I think what you bring up is really interesting. I 100%. I think all of us that hear that, when we put ourselves in our own shoes, say, okay, do I absorb things differently than the next guy in a classroom? Yes, we all have ways that we feel like are better for us to absorb study material. If he'd have stuck to that, I think he would have had a great point. Sure. But he gives this defensive, going back to what he did in high school and all his accolades. We know what he did. He was the first pick in the draft. Like, we know he's a talented guy. But he's acting as if this is a narrative that was created from the fans and the media. This is something that was in his contract that his own team brought to the table and he agreed to. So he shouldn't be mad and saying, it's laughable that you guys think I don't work. Well, but it wasn't us that brought that up. It was your team that brought that up.
We didn't put that in your contract.
Yeah, and you agreed to it. So it's a very strange story there. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. So I think for him to sort of be in denial that there's an issue there, that's a little bit – that's wrong. I don't think he comes across very well there. But – his point about, hey, look, I might prepare differently than Peyton Manning, that's a fair point. And I think that should have been discussed behind the scenes when they were negotiating the contract instead of now.
Yeah. Well, hold that thought, because I think this is a fascinating discussion that, maybe we've never really seen before. I mean, we I cited the Jamarcus Russell example, but this is a big deal. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Kyler Murray, what are your thoughts on this whole situation with his contract, and what does this mean moving forward for him and his relationship with the Arizona Cardinals? We will discuss that coming up next. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. But first, Willy, tell us about QC Kinetics.
All right, QC Kinetics. They are helping people every day, and this is the time of year you want to be moving around pain-free. So if you've had some joint issues, something like a back pain or arthritis, some of the things that are slowing you down, you want to be talking to QC Kinetics because they have a new way of attacking these kind of issues. They have regenerative medicine. The science is very simple. They concentrate your own body's healing agents and apply them to those aching joints, and they restore and repair the damaged tissue. No drugs, no steroids, no surgery. So now that is got to be music to your ears. You may know about the traditional remedies for pain. They're not the only remedies out there. So learn more about QC Kinetics. It can be life-changing. Make this the last summer that you have the issues from the chronic pain that's weighing you down. This is exciting and new. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics. That's 615-249-4024.
And here we go! Every Tuesday at 11,
The Music City Grand Prix is green!
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase will get you set for the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix by talking to some of IndyCar's best drivers.
Pleased to be joined by Scott Dixon.
I can't wait, man, and thanks for having me on, and looking forward to getting back to Nashville.
Weekly driver interviews are presented by Social Furniture in West Nashville. Shop their summer blowout sale now till July 31st. 60 months with no interest and same-day delivery. And by the Nashville Sheriff on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will be possible throughout the day. High today, 87. Saturday, 87. Sunday, 85.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
To know what makes Genesis Diamonds so special, you have to understand its origin. Back when owner Boaz Ramon used to sell diamonds only to jewelry stores.
I was selling to more than 700 jewelry stores. I didn't like what I saw.
What he saw in retail stores was grossly inflated prices, limited selection, pricing games, and a sales process that put the customer at a disadvantage. And it motivated this wholesaler to start his own retail revolution.
My passion was to build a place where the customer is going to be very informed. We're not going to hide any information from him. We're not going to have to get diamonds from other people. We're not going to mark up our prices to mark them down.
So Genesis was born. No middleman markups, no commission salespeople, industry-leading warranties, 30 times the selection, a no-holds-barred diamond education that empowers the customer, and a refreshing, relaxed, no-pressure atmosphere.
We created a place where the consumer is the king.
Come and get the royal treatment today. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase here on a Friday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, Derek Mason with you, discussing Kyler Murray and this contract. Is he being coddled? Is that what we think is happening or has been happening? I mean, now he's like, you know, the Arizona Cardinals take the clause out of the contract about film study, which is, to me, they've coddled him by doing that because he signed the contract. Like, this is what I don't get. You signed it. You may not like it, but you signed it.
I wonder, Derek, do you think he has a circle of people, maybe not within the team who work for the team, but maybe it's his friends, maybe it's a combination of both, that maybe have sort of, you know, been yes men or, hey, they shouldn't do that to you, you know, like that kind of thing. It just seems like he asked for a contract early. The Cardinals could have played hard line and had him play at the last year of his contract and then decided what to do, right? They didn't have to go down this road. Exactly. Like we talked about John Robinson yesterday. We had a great conversation with him, and we didn't use the name of Jeffrey Simmons because we know he wasn't going to talk specifically about Jeffrey. But we asked about when is it the right time to go and negotiate with a guy early, lock him up before he becomes more expensive. And he said you want to stay away from setting a precedent. But the Cardinals kind of did something there they didn't have to do. But it's like they were like, if we're going to pay you this money, we're going to put this clause in here because you've got to work harder. We want you to get to the next level here. It's weird motivation. Somewhere somebody hasn't gotten through to him, I think, to somebody's liking in there.
Well, first, all these quarterbacks get coddled. I don't care who they are. All 32 of them get coddled.
But in different ways.
They all get coddled.
Some are tougher than others.
They all like, okay, we can't. The quarterback is like, I don't know, it's like a goalie. Like, yes.
You never say anything
exactly.
bad about the quarterback.
You got to make sure, you got to approach them very delicately. You just do. I've seen it. I've watched it. They get approached They can do the same thing that a running back or receiver or offensive lineman do. But the offensive lineman, the receiver, and the running back can get chewed out. The quarterback doesn't get chewed out. He gets talked to, calmly. Yeah. Hey, listen, you got to do this. Make sure you see this, okay? Okay, I got you, coach. Because you got to be very delicate. All 32 of them that are starting, you have to be that way, and it's never going to change. But I think, and we discussed this off air, I think this is what happened. And you're right. There are people in your camps that say, hey, maybe they're always that person that you should have two sides of the coin. The person that is the yay and the person that's the nay. It's like, okay,
who's going to
both sides?
Who's going to pump me up and who's going to be dead straight with me?
Exactly.
Saying, look, let's be totally honest here.
Absolutely.
You got to work on
have
this.
that. Absolutely. Yeah. You got to have that dynamic.
For me, Derek would be the yay and Willie would be the nay.
Yeah. But here's what I think happened in this situation. Kyler wants a new contract. In this day and age, you can't afford to let your quarterback get to that last year or even play out his contract, especially if he has sort of revitalized your franchise. He has revitalized their franchise. Kyler Murray has. He's electrified. No matter what you think of him as a person, he's a good quarterback, okay?
Yes.
So he says, okay, I need a new contract. Arizona, maybe they don't want to do it right now, but they know they have to eventually. He goes out and he makes it a big deal. Why? Because all these kids are making it a big deal. When they want a contract, they make it a big deal. We saw it here in Nashville with A.J. Brown. We'll see it everywhere else across the NFL.
DK Metcalf and on down the line. Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, they want a new contract, so they have to sort of drum it up. Okay, we got to sign them to a new deal. All right, here's the stipulations within your deal. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, we see it. We agree to the money. Kyler agent looks at it. Kyler looks at it. Why is this in here? His agent said, don't worry about it. Just sign the contract. We know you'll put the hours in. Just sign it, and we'll strategically find a way to get it out of your contract. But just sign it for now so we can get the money, you can get your guarantee, and we can move past it. You sure? I'm positive. All right. Trust me. All right. A week go by. All of a sudden, somebody leaks it. I know it ain't the Arizona Cardinals. They're not going to leak it. Somebody leaks it. Everybody reads it. What's going on? Kyler gets mad. His agent goes to the organization. Who leaked this? Who did this? We can't have this. I can't have my player be thought of as a guy that's the head of a franchise, meaning a quarterback, but he doesn't study. That doesn't look good for us, and it damn sure don't look good for y'all. So y'all need to take it out.
And it's a game changer forever.
Exactly.
Even though they've taken it out, nobody will ever forget that this was out there at one point.
But they got it out.
They got it out.
That was their whole mission was, okay, just sign the contract and I will get it out. Don't worry about it. Because when you start fussing on social media, what happens? Things change,
But was that the right price to pay? Like here, Andrew Brandt, I listened to a great conversation he was having on the MMQB podcast. We used to have Andrew Brandt on all the time. We might need to get him back on again. He made a good point. What do you always say, Derek? A 3-year contract is really
it's like a 2-year contract.
Like a 2-year contract.
1-year contract.
So he went through the Kyler Murray deal. And so it's billed as a 7-year contract, but it's really a 5-year extension. And he said you can really boil it down. The money is after 3 years, we'll see. So 3 years, $105 million guaranteed, which is great money. It's a really good deal. But it may not be quite as attractive as it looks on paper when they say it's more money than Deshaun Watson and blah, blah, blah. After 3 years, you could reset it. But it boils down to this. He said he teaches a class, Andrew Brandt, who was, if you don't know who he was a contract guy, salary cap guy for Green Bay. He also spent a lot of time as an agent. So he's been on both sides of negotiations. He's got a unique perspective. He's a professor at Villanova. He posed this to his class, and he said, let's say we're negotiating the contract, and I come to you, Derek, and I say, you're Kyler Murray. All right, Kyler, here are the choices. 3 years, $105 million, but we're putting in this study clause because I think you've got to do a better job of preparing, and this is going to force you to get to the next level. It's going to make you better, and I'll give you 3 for a 105. Or it's 3 for 100, no clause. Is that $5 million enough to incentivize you to sign that deal?
It probably is.
I think
for Kyler, yeah, it is.
It's $5 million.
Yeah, it is. But here's also the situation.
Would you take it, Chase, or would you just say, "Hey, I don't want this coming out. This is risky. This could be leaked.
Look,
I'll just take the $100 million."
As somebody that sucked at studying in school, I probably need that clause in my contract.
So you would say, "Look, I'm going to make myself do it. This will make me do it."
But here's the thing, fellas. If Arizona and I listened to Chris Canty on one of these television stations, and he talked about the whole situation. He said, well, their first 3 games are against playoff caliber teams. Okay, if they go 0-3, then everybody will come back to, but depend on how he plays. If he plays bad in those 0-3 starts, then we're going to go back to, we know why the clause is in there. If they go 3-0 or 2-1 in that span, nobody's talking about the clause, okay? Everybody's forgetting about the clause, and that's what they bank on. That's what his agent and him are banking on. Listen, it's out there. Everybody understands it's out there. We got it out of our contract, that's what we wanted to do, get it out of the contract. Just win 2 of the 3 or all 3 and play well, and who's talking about it after that? Nobody.
Right.
Until he throws an interception where you look at the film and go, what was he looking at there?
All quarterbacks do that. All quarterbacks do
Real quick, though, because I forgot, and thank you to Hutton for pointing this out to me. You know that Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray have the same agent. It's Eric Burkhart. They have the same agent, which I think makes this even more fascinating.
Right, because it has you wondering who presented the clause and then who was – the one I feel like some people weren't on the same page.
I feel like the coaches, that's coming from the coaches.
But in this situation, yes, we have the same agent, but he's not discussing my contract with my head coach. You just can't you can't do that.
I hope not.
That's not good practice. It's like, okay, yeah, because there's only so many good agents in the NFL or in sports, period. Okay? So just because you and I share the same agent doesn't mean the agent is discussing the head coach's contract with me or my contract with him, because ultimately that's a breach of contract if you do that. You can't discuss what's going on in my contract with the head coach just because you represent him as well. So just because they had the same agent, I don't think that had anything to do. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury said, "Hey, y'all need to put this in Kyler's contract." I think it was more so the GM and the owner say, "Hey, listen, we need to put this in his contract because we've heard some things throughout the building that don't sit too well with us." I'm not sure the head coach went to them and said, "Hey, listen, y'all need to put this in his contract."
Yeah. I don't know. Look, we're going to get back into this. Tim Hasselbeck had some comments on it, too, that you'll hear later on in the show. But coming up next, back into the Titans, Zach Cunningham scheduled to join us here shortly once practice winds down over at St. Thomas Sports Park. It's Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch The Game.
And he's going. Nobody's going to catch him. Derrick Henry, touchdown.
We talk The Game.
I don't think it was a bad play, but he took out their goalie.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey, Willy Donick here. Are you feeling the sting of higher interest rates and higher costs? Those credit cards and other loans are costing more and more every month, and inflation is making everything else more expensive. Your home can save you right now. Your home value is up, and there's a ton of cash in it that you can access with Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. You can get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off those 23% rate credit cards and other loans. Consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut $800 or more from their monthly budget. If your home mortgage rate goes up a point or so, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. So call Loan Pronto now and unlock that equity and wipe out the bad debt. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
At Mitchell's Mr. Transmission, we also offer free towing with any major repairs. If your vehicle has a breakdown and you should need any type towing is available through Dad's Towing Service. Dad's is a professional towing company in Nashville that provides all types towing and recovery, 24 hours a day.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to save cash fast. Get up to half off or more on dining and entertainment at thegamenashville.com/deals. Check back often for new featured deals and save money now at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Jared Stillman.
Football season, and then football season becomes hockey season, and then it becomes draft season, and then it becomes hockey playoff season.
And company.
Maybe this is something to just get people a little bit interested.
It's a matter of not having too many chefs in the kitchen.
Catch Stillman and Company on your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
And I can spot it from a mile away.
Watch live on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Stillman and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willy Donick, Derek Mason with you. Zach Cunningham, Titans linebacker, coming up as soon as practice is over, kind of on a wait-and-see schedule. Should be around now in the next few minutes. But, the best way to figure that out is to watch Twitter, because all the reporters will start, they can actually give their reports once practice is over. So that's when you know that things have wrapped up. They are in the bubble today. That's why we're not there for training camp today. But it was nice being over there the last few days, and all of our training camp coverage is presented by USA Hemp Store and Harman Energy, your one-stop petroleum solution. And had a nice conversation with John Robinson yesterday. We talked to Jonathan Hutton, too, about Zach Cunningham, because he brought up David Culley, former Texans head coach. They had him on their show on Outkick 360 a few weeks ago, that it was pretty much David Culley that didn't feel like that Cunningham was really fitting in anymore. Mm-hmm. So the Titans capitalized on that. I look for a big year, with Zach Cunningham now that he's got a full season, or will have a full season, to be in that linebacking core. But, with him and the emergence of David Long, I worry about the depth a little bit behind him. but I do like those two middle linebackers that the Titans have.
Cunningham is really interesting to me, Derek, because I watched him very closely at Vanderbilt.
I wanted the Titans to draft him so bad.
And to me, he's one of the I have seen some really good Vanderbilt defenses. Now, everybody who's from the outside might say, Vanderbilt, how many great players have they had? But if you really look, year in and year out, they have had some really good players through the years.
They've had some individual
guys. Yeah. In fact, when I was doing sideline for them in the mid-'90s, they had Woody Woodenhofer, may he rest in peace, one of the great characters of the game, very poor head coach, but a great defensive coordinator. They had one of the worst offenses in college football, but they had a legit defense that had a lot of great players that went on to play in the NFL. And they could contain Danny Werfel and Tim Couch and Peyton Manning. And just look at the scores. They stayed in some games. They weren't going to score. They could have had 8 quarters and never scored. But they played some really good defense, and it was fun to watch that part of it. But seeing all of that, I would put Zach Cunningham as one of the most dominant football players I ever saw at Vanderbilt. He's been the top 10 for sure, maybe top 5. He made some incredible plays. And I always saw a really great work ethic from where I sat. I wasn't at practice every day. So it did kind of make me wonder last year when the Texans waived him. Where did that come from? Apparently he was drifting. You heard David Culley, who's another guy with Vanderbilt guy. He went to Vanderbilt. They had that bond, but he was pretty adamant to the Outkick guys that, look, we had to do something. They waived him. You would think a guy of that value, of that caliber, you could have traded, but they just put him on the waiver wire.
It's also the Texans.
Yeah, I mean.
And so can good players drift in a tough situation? Like the Texans were just a mess, right? They had the whole Deshaun Watson thing. Things were going south. Can you see a good player go south when he's in that environment?
Yeah, because you get disinterested. You're not engaged anymore because, you feel as a player, listen, I put in all of this work and I'm doing what I need to do, but the organization isn't doing what they need to do. They've been flux, whether it's been this whole deal with the Texans didn't just start with Watson.
Right.
They've been dealing with this with GMs, not liking, then stuff coming out about the owner.
Bad ownership, yeah.
Exactly. So this is not something that has just happened. This franchise has been in flux for almost 10 years, if not 10 years. And as a player, when you're seeing all of these things happen, you're thinking like, man, we're not set up to win. No matter what I do as a player, we're not set up to win. And you do get disinterested. It's like, okay, you go from enjoying practice, can't wait to get to practice, to the game, can't wait to get to the game, to, man, I'm putting in my hours, I'm doing what I need to do, I'm out of here. I'm not engaging in anything else. I'm not going to do any more other than what's required of me because they're not doing anything else, meaning the upper management. They're doing the minimum. Why should I go out here and give my all, for this organization, and they're not giving their all? So that can happen in situations, and that was probably the best thing for him was to get cut. Now look where he's at, a much better organization. People would say this is one of the top 5 or 10 organizations in the National Football League, led by a head coach that's a top 5 coach. He won Coach of the Year. Why wouldn't you be? It's like you're going from the outhouse to the penthouse. Who wouldn't love that?
The Titans apparently were stunned that when they put the waiver claim in, that they got him.
Now you're rejuvenated as a player.
And you're going to play for somebody that you know.
Exactly.
In a town
I know
that you
Vrabel.
Yeah.
I know the town. I'm used to the town. So this second year, this next year to be a year and a half that he would, play because he spent half of the year with Houston and then half of the year here. So this would be another season built on the half season that he had. He can't help but be a better player because he has the tools. He's shown that he can be a good player. Now you put him on a good organization with a good coach, a good defensive coordinator, a bunch of really good players on that front. he can't help but get better.
Yeah, and I'm glad, too, because, we did talk in the offseason that he might be a candidate to get cut because of his contract. And
reworked.
Or reworked, and I'm glad they figured out how to keep him because I think they've upgraded at middle linebacker with Zach Cunningham and David Long. For whatever reasons, Rashaan Evans, we always enjoy talking to Rashaan Evans. Just he kind of fell off. He wasn't what, they had hoped he was going to be out of Alabama. Jayon Brown, I think they got more than enough out of him.
But couldn't stay on the field
Yeah,
enough,
he was getting where health was an issue. He was getting hurt. So, I think they've upgraded. And if they can keep both Long and Cunningham healthy, they're going to be in good shape.
I've got two great moments from Zach Cunningham when he was at Vanderbilt. And Coach Derek Mason,
leaping over the
who
line.
we really – well, that's one of them for sure. But he never had the numbers. James Franklin, as Mitch Light pointed out, and he's going to join us later, James Franklin actually inherited a decent amount of talent and was able to add depth with some good recruiting and then develop that talent. He had more numbers. Derek Mason started with a lower level, but he never could build the amount of depth to have a lot of success. But they made a couple of bowl games when Derek Mason was there, and it was largely because of dominant seasons by his best players like Keyshawn Vaughn and Zach Cunningham. There was the play at Auburn that you're talking about.
Yeah,
where
got a rule made.
They got a rule made. He leaped over the line and blocked the field goal, just timed the snap perfect, hurdled the line and blocked the field goal. And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable. And then maybe the biggest moment that I can remember, they won at Georgia. Now, some people are like, probably going, wait a minute, Vanderbilt won at Georgia?
Oh, yeah, they did.
And you mean in 1975? No. In 20, I think it was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
It was Kirby Smart's first year at Georgia. Georgia had 4th and 1 or 2 trying to move down the field for the winning field goal. Vanderbilt was hanging on. They needed to stop. They throw a little swing pass out to a running back, and it looks like it's just he's going to get the first down. There's all kinds of space. Zach Cunningham didn't have much momentum. He's the only guy that can make the tackle. He absolutely stopped the guy in his tracks short of the first down and won the game for Vanderbilt. And it just was the kind of tackle that you're like, physically that shouldn't happen. Like if I'm running full bore into a single tackler, I should be able to push that guy back 6 inches to move the chains. He just completely stopped him right at the stick, and Vanderbilt wins the game. It just plays like that I remember because he was such a freak, especially with his tackling skills. And that's where Mike Vrabel has been saying, look, when we were the opponent of the Texans, we were game planning for Zach Cunningham, especially the running game. We're like, if you don't block this guy is going to make every tackle. We've got to get him blocked. So I'm really curious how he works right behind Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry in that front because they're bringing a lot to the table, and I think he could really flourish in that, especially on running downs.
Well, he gets to roam a lot without being touched because they got to pay attention to Danico Autry and Jeffrey Simmons. So if they're clogging up a block or two, Jeffrey's clogging up 2, Danico Autry's clogging up a block, maybe even 2, that leaves those inside linebackers an opportunity to shift across the line without being touched. They're able to see things. They're able to see the holes, shoot the gaps, and make tackles. So, listen, if I'm a defensive player and I got cut by Houston and I came to Tennessee, boy, oh boy, I would be praising John Robinson right now, thanking him every day. Thank you for claiming me off waivers and get me out of that place.
Well, I bet he does. Starting to see the tweets. Looks like practice has wrapped up at St. Thomas Sports Park in the bubble. So we will hopefully chat with Zach Cunningham here in just a few minutes here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Men, what if I told you that now you are able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMD4Men.com.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear ContiTech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE, 615-895-HOSE.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks is so excited to introduce a brand new wing flavor, Hot Honey. They brought the heat with this one, featuring honey, crushed red pepper, jalapenos, and cayenne pepper. It's sweet on the front end with a kick at the end. Get to Twin Peaks to find your new favorite wing sauce.
Family Leisure is having a come out and play sale.
That's right. Family Leisure is inviting you to come out and play with the new swimming pool, spa, or patio furniture set.
Hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. DIY pools start at only $16.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed.
Installation in less than 10 days on average.
More than 100 spas in stock and incoming. Artesian, Strong, and LPI spas starting at only $29.99.
What about the patio furniture?
Family Leisure has hundreds of sets in stock and on sale. Hanamint, Woodard, Tropitone, and Loft, all ready for immediate delivery.
Family Leisure also has the Sabre Infrared Grill in stock and on sale at only $11.99, and the Bull Grill Islands at only $39.99.
And Family Leisure has the Diamond Point Play Gym at only $25.99 installed and ready for immediate delivery.
Pool tables, massage chairs, and theater seating all on sale and ready for immediate delivery.
Come out and play at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Family and fun come together.
This is a big month for some of our teammates at Cromwell Media. At 102.5, 106.3 The Game, producer Kenny Adams is celebrating a 10-year anniversary. Also at The Game, morning show producer Michelle Knezovic and part-time producer Nick Keyser are both crossing the 1-year mark. At 102.9 The Buzz, Eric Steele, our rock star evening host, and Andy Herron, a part-time host, have been with us for 8 years. We are Cromwell Media and proud of our employees who commit themselves to excellence every day. Want to join our team? Contact us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
I love this show. Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, a York-certified comfort expert company. Schedule now at springhillac.com. Chase McKay, Willie Donick, Derek Mason with you. Zach Cunningham, Titans linebacker, are going to join us here shortly as looks like practice is either winding down or has wrapped up at St. Thomas Sports Park. So we'll get him on the line soon. But reading through a few things that are coming out, Chika Okonkwo continues to impress everybody at Titans training camp. And, you know, he's a rookie that I was curious about to see, you know, what exactly he was going to bring to the table. Ben Arthur of the Tennessean put out a quote from his tweet: "4th-round rookie tight end Chika Okonkwo continues to impress me with his hands. I haven't seen him drop a pass since he joined the Titans in the spring. At 11s today, he made a contested grab on a slant with Amani Hooker in coverage." And we know how good Amani Hooker is. You know, they definitely had to address the tight end position. You know, if Austin Hooper can be like he was a few years ago and Chika Okonkwo, I think you got to feel much better, Derek, about tight ends.
Yeah, you do, because this is a position where they didn't get much, or if at anything from this position, whereas they thought they were going to be able to get something, but they didn't. In previous years, they always got production, whether it was Jonnu Smith or Delaney Walker, or you can go back even further than that. They've always got production out of that position. And the way the NFL is going, you need a tight end in this day and age because it stretches the field even more. So him coming on is a big positive.
No doubt about it. Looks like we do have Zach Cunningham on the line with us, so we say hello to the Titans linebacker and, of course, former Vanderbilt Commodore as well. Zach, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. So how has the first few days of training camp been for you now that you've spent some time in a system that I'm sure you're familiar with, having played for Mike Vrabel in Houston? But how has it been getting settled in now that you can go through a training camp with the Titans?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty fun, getting back around the guys. And like you said, getting back into the defense, I've kind of been accustomed to, played to before with Vrabel. It's just been a good time for me so far.
How have you seen Mike Vrabel change as a coach from your time when he was DC in Houston to now as a head coach with the Titans?
To be honest, I haven't seen too much of a change. He's been pretty much the same guy from back then.
We're talking with Zach Cunningham, Tennessee Titans linebacker. You're starting your first full season here in Nashville. Is there anything that from an outsider, you went against this offense, you played against this team? Is there anything that you didn't know about this team that you're learning now?
I mean, I wouldn't say too much because I knew a lot of the guys that were on the team. Just been around a few of the coaches as well. So it wasn't really too much that I guess surprised me where I wasn't aware of.
Now, how much does this I know it has to be a linebacker's dream to play with the front four that you're playing in, led by Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry. How much more does that make your job easier?
Oh, yeah, it definitely makes my job a lot easier. It clears things up for me. I'm able to, see a lot more. Those guys, they play hard. The big guys, they definitely always ain't got to worry about them doing their job. It just clears it up for you.
We're talking to Zach Cunningham, Titans linebacker. And, Zach, by the way, that was Derek Mason, the former wide receiver for the Titans, not your coach, Derek Mason, at Vanderbilt. We just want to clear that up because some people do get confused, especially on the radio.
I'm still getting confused.
It does happen sometimes. But, Zach, as a former Commodore myself, we were just talking about some great moments that you had playing for Vanderbilt. And I'm just wondering what you took out of that experience, because we know Vanderbilt football has had a lot of ups and downs, but to have the satisfaction of being able to lead a team like Vanderbilt to a bowl game when you're used to being the underdog a lot of times, how does that help you going forward?
It definitely helped me a lot as far as my kids, being able to know how to win, and I know how to lose, and just coming every day, like that was our mentality. Always coming to work, always coming to improve, and that's something that stuck with us whether we were winning or losing.
What do you think was your favorite part about Derek Mason, the football coach? What was his best attribute? I'm
a defensive guy, so that's definitely what was one of my things that I took from that. How hard he had how good he had the defense, how much we worked, how much we were able to show out on the field. As a defense, that's one of the things I did miss about Vanderbilt. What we were able to accomplish as a defense back then.
Talking with Zach Cunningham, Titans linebacker, and sticking on Vanderbilt for a second, seeing what their commitment now, what Candace Story-Lee is doing as athletic director. They're putting a lot of money into athletics. That has been a long time coming. As an alum and somebody that played there, what does that mean to you to see the university have that kind of commitment?
It definitely means a lot, to see them putting all that into the team and the facilities, and it's something that definitely as an alumni, you want to see improve and keep improving, as the years go on.
I know you haven't known him all that long, but you've played next to David Long Jr. Since you got here with the Titans. What have you seen out of him? What is working for you two to be able to gel so well together?
I've said we kind of have similar play styles, and that's something that I've been able to gel well with, both of us being like really instinctual, being able to get to the ball, make plays on the ball. That's one thing that's kind of helped me, in transitioning into this defense.
Now, going into the offseason, I'm sure you heard, hey, Zach's a wonderful player. He's a great player, first and second down. But the sort of the knock was, hey, he's not quite the third down linebacker that we need in regards to coverage. He can cover, but, in this day and age, man, they have running backs coming out running like wide receivers and tight ends running like wide receivers. What have you done in the offseason to make that part of your game, even better than it was last year?
Yeah, I mean, as far as, footwork and, being able to reading routes and, doing one-on-ones with running backs. Just, I mean, a lot of doing that is what I've been working on.
We're talking to Zach Cunningham, Titans linebacker. Zach, I'm noticing that you majored in economics at Vanderbilt, and I commend you for that because I ran the other way from the economics field. I was not touching economics when I was there. But tell me about that, the balance of that when you were at Vanderbilt, and maybe how that's something that could be a practical thing for you now as you move forward in life. We just talked about Kyler Murray's contract and everybody getting new contracts and things like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's definitely play as far as like when I negotiate my contract, like the verbiage and being knowledgeable on that. So, but I will be honest, if I had known everything that went into taking econ or majoring in econ, I probably would have ran away from it as well.
You don't know what you don't know.
That's right. I know some people that started in economics and then changed their major after they got a little taste of it. But Zach, before we let you go, I noticed too here that you play the guitar. So when did you start doing that? What got you interested in that, and how much do you play now?
I think I started maybe back in middle school, I think. So a lot of my family play instruments and, sing. So my older brother plays guitar, and one of my other brothers plays the drums and the piano. So, I kind of just was raised in a family that, I was always around music, always around instruments.
So can we?
I don't play too much now. It's something I've been trying to get back to.
So can we just assume there will be a Cunningham band going on pretty soon?
The Cunninghams, yeah.
We might have to put something together.
Hey, there's always a place for a good frat band. On Frat Row at Vanderbilt. They get some good gigs there if you got a good band.
Uh-huh.
I like it. Zach, thanks so much for the time today. Good to talk to you again, and look forward to having you here for the full season, and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
That is Zach Cunningham, Titans linebacker, joining us after practice today, and I didn't know that he plays guitar. That's pretty cool.
Not bad.
That he does that. But we were talking about this earlier. Mm-hmm. I'm glad he's here because I think he has totally made that linebacking core even better. And he was somebody I wish they were able to draft him out of Vanderbilt. Have him from the beginning. But the fact that he's here now, playing with Mike Vrabel again, I think is beneficial to the Tennessee Titans, and he sounds happy too. So that's a good thing.
Well, he's an asset for this team. He's a guy that, you probably would have liked to drafted him, but at that particular time, that wasn't the need because I think Houston drafted him in the second round, so you probably had other needs that you had to fill. But, it comes full circle, and now he's back here in Nashville, and he's a part of a really, really good defense, and he's only going to make this defense much better than what they were last year.
No doubt. Coming up next, we'll see if Mike Vrabel is going to take the podium. We'll try and carry some of that for you as they have wrapped up practice for today. But something we're doing here at 102.5, 106.3 The Game, we need your help with because we were all kids once. And showing up on that first day of school, we had new clothes, new shoes. D-Mase had his Air Jordans probably showing up, looking good. And everybody was ready to go, and that was a big deal, and it still is. But there are thousands of children right here in Middle Tennessee who are going to be embarrassed on that first day of school because they don't have a decent pair of shoes to wear, and we want to change that. Souls for Music City is our cause. So please consider joining us with a simple $20 donation. That's all it takes to put a new pair of athletic shoes on the feet of a homeless child in Middle Tennessee. All you have to do is text DONATE to 615-737-1025 right now, 615-737-1025, and you can help make a difference in the life of a single child. That's donate to 615-737-1025, and thank you for your kindness.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with a shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Chevrolet Buick GMC. When this hot summer weather comes, I'm reminded of what my grandmother used to say. It's so hot outside, the hens are using pot holders to pick up the worms. I was never really sure what that meant, but when she said it, I knew it was hot. I mean, if things are hot, that tells you something. And it's not always good. Take your car, for example. If it's running hot, something's wrong. If your air conditioner, like so many people, is blowing hot these days, something's wrong. When your tires get hot, they wear out faster, which means something's wrong. But here at Newton, we want to help right those wrongs. We have an amazing service department that'll keep your car running its best through all this heat. We have amazing technicians ready to diagnose and repair your car no matter what the problem is. We want to keep your car running smoothly in the easiest way possible. So let us help. Schedule your service online today at NewtonChevroletBuickGMC.com.
If you suffer from joint pain from arthritis or an injury, you know the traditional treatments, pain meds, steroids, and then surgery, right? Willy here with great news. Now there's a better way, and it's here now from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. This is an advanced, exciting, and natural alternative that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen, steroid shots are toxic to your joints. Pain meds can be addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and those old ways are out. The new way is in. Regenerative medicine, restoring and repairing damaged joint tissue using natural biologics. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics and their protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. So call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
What up, world? This is your boy Kevin Hart, a.k.a. the comedic rock star. And guess what? I'm coming to a city near you with my new tour, Reality Check. And we are adding shows, doing it big. Brand new hour material, big laughs, big energy. Make sure you're in the building. Don't miss your chance to get your tickets.
Don't miss Kevin Hart, Reality Check Tour, this Wednesday at Bridgestone Arena. Get tickets now.
Go to KevinHartNation.com now.
Summer heat is here. How is your air conditioner holding up? Costs are rising everywhere. Grocery bills, gas bills, utility bills, you name it, up, up, up. Is your AC old, inefficient, costing more than it should? Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Qualified buyers have up to 72 months. No interest for a new York air conditioner and 6 months no interest for repairs. That's at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. All new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. That's at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, a York certified comfort expert company. Schedule now at springhillac.com.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN. Welcome into Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Somebody company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game, Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming. Get the extra point, no problem. And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Back here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Let's head over to St. Thomas Sports Park and hear from Titans head coach Mike Vrabel.
At safety and then at various spots on substituted defenses.
How do you feel about Malik in the 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s, taking and running with the ball and checking it down and running with it? Or do you want to see him maybe try to force something or throw the football?
No, I mean, I don't want to sit there and have him throw interceptions. I want him to work through his progression and make the correct decision. If we evaluate the tape and it looks like, he had, one of his first two progressions, or reads, we'd certainly want the ball to go there. But if not, then, that's what you have to do is you have to progress through. And sometimes guys' progression is being able to extend plays outside the pocket and being smart with the football, keeping your eyes downfield, making great decisions, and then, protecting the football and yourself as well.
Talked about some of those off-season kind of like the back end there, Fitzpatrick, Racy McMath, Josh Malone. How have they looked to you so far?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's a back end. That's Teron Davenport's opinion. I think we're going to try to give everybody an opportunity to go out there and make an impact. Josh had a good spring. See if he carries it over here. Dez has worked hard, and Racy's continuing to develop, and we like his size, his speed. Those guys are all have good size, and Dez has done some good things here in the first couple of days. But it's a long camp and a long evaluation.
Mentioned just how much he's learned from Robert Woods in the past month or so, just all the advice he's taken. He can go to him with any questions. Just how valuable, is it to have a guy like Woods, a vet, in there that can pass on that info?
Well, we like to have that at every position, and obviously, Robert's done it at different places. So when you do it at different places, that means that you've been around other players and other coaches, and can always add and bring professional initiative to not only the meeting room, but to an individual that, hey, I struggle with this too. I think there's some amount of empathy that some of these veterans have for the younger guys, and saying, hey, I can remember when, I struggled, or I dropped the ball, or I went through this. And, it's great to have Robert here with us helping, the group and the rest of the offense.
The twisting and the torque that come with pads and contact next week, how much did that change things for Robert and Caleb? And does it turn into new things in terms of monitoring them
Yeah, I think we'll just kind of take it a day-by-day basis and see how they feel, see how they respond to today. There was much more work today than what maybe there was in the last couple days. And then we'll just see. But I don't think, I'm not anticipating there be a big turn-off, or change from where we were with pads or not pads.
When will you be in pads first?
I guess the first day is Monday, right? It's Sunday will be off, and then Monday.
Was this the first day like?
Go ahead.
Rashawn, we were talking about how his first couple days of OTAs were really difficult for him coming back from injury. How have you seen him progress, and where's his fitness level right now?
Well, the fitness level is better. Yeah, that was it. The conditioning was something that you can't replicate. Being out there, and then it was hot, the hottest days that we've had this year, and he's worked through that. He came back in good shape, and he expects himself to play with great effort, and that's kind of been his strength. And to do that, you have to be in condition. So you got to go through the pain and of getting in shape, and he did that. Sorry, Jimmy, what do you got?
Yeah, was this the first day Woods been in 707 since he's been with you? And is that
No,
part of okay.
No, it's not. Just gonna. Those guys have been held out of one-on-ones as of now, and but everything else has been full.
You spent some time over with the tight ends during individual periods. How or what have you seen from Chig and Austin, and how has their relationship with Ryan kind of developed since when they first got in the building?
Well, it's improved because neither of those players were here last year, so it's obviously improved. We had a low baseline, but trying to build a relationship of where the quarterback wants you, on certain routes that they run, and but they're going to have to block for us. They're going to have to, they're going to have to be able to help us in the run game as well. So, that's a large part of what those guys do.
You mentioned DeMarcus yesterday as one of your off-season guys. Some things in particular that stood out for you that you like about his game or that he did during the off-season there?
He came in, worked. We kind of signed after the start of the program, could only evaluate him in the time that he was here. So worked hard, brought energy, got here early, stayed late. Sometimes after, practice or running, and you don't really, the lift isn't intense, and he, was able to bring an intensity level to that. Worked hard to learn our system, coming from where, Houston last year. And so, that's all we can do is evaluate them, while they're here. And so he showed certainly the effort and daily consistency and, improved in the techniques that we were coaching each day.
Has been a guy that's really first made his mark here on special teams and has become pretty good at it. As he has ascended as a receiver, do you have to monitor his special teams use now more or lessen his role at all?
Well, maybe some of the, the more that he plays, maybe some of the downfield stuff. And as we, begin to get, some guys at gunner, that can really, make that their role, their primary role, then, Nick may or may not be out there as much. Maybe, maybe he's out there on some plus 50 punts. And, we ask everybody to play a role in special teams at some capacity, whether that's corners that are trying to hold up the gunner, the vice, and, sometimes, coming over on the other side, or receivers that play gunner, and, there's tight ends that are involved. So, right now, just trying to see where everybody kind of fits, and maybe that does decrease. I'm not really sure.
When we talked to Harold this past spring, he had talked about kind of, wanting to evolve a little bit more as a leader from different standpoints. So far, now that you guys have been back in the building, what have you seen from him?
Harold's always been pretty consistent, and, his personality is not going to change. I think that, I wouldn't say he's a voice that you hear a lot, but that's okay. You can lead with his consistency and, his play and his style, and, I think it's good. He studies, rarely makes mental mistakes, and, rarely makes the same mistake twice. So I think that that's something that's a positive, impression on some of the other guys. And, he's been here for a few years, so he kind of knows what to expect and knows the program. And, we ask him to do a lot of different things and play a lot of different spots.
What has it been about Logan Woodside the last few years that's given you guys faith that you could rely on him when needed, even though you haven't really needed him in games and you haven't seen him in that kind of situation? Yeah,
and I mean, nobody studies more. Nobody, we ask a lot of the quarterbacks to get us in the right plays, and Logan's been great at it. We brought in some competition last year, and he separated himself just with being able to run our offense and operate our offense, and needs to continue to improve. We're going to try to get both of those guys ready and the ability to compete with him and Malik. So Logan's just he's competed against every guy that we've had in here.
What have you seen from Taylor Lewan and the offensive line so far?
Well, I think that they're getting in great shape. I saw them finishing today. These guys, we ask them to finish downfield, and they're not going to win every single block. That's not realistic. But hopefully they can win those one-on-one matchups in effort and getting the ability to finish downfield. I felt like we don't have pads on, and with the third down stuff that we had, looked like the protection was good enough to get some passes off. There's a few blitzes that maybe got us, but we'll take a look at the film, and but I know they're going hard, and I think there's improvement with some of the stuff that we've asked them to do, whether that's in certain pass protections or certain play actions. So we just got to keep working, and then when the pads come on, I guess we'll have a better idea.
How much you like the competitiveness in the fight? Maybe guys working through contact and those one-on-one drills with receivers and DBs, and do you overlook some of the contact there? Because it gives your offensive players a chance to fight through it?
Well, I mean, I think we do a good job, a very good job of trying to take care of each other. I don't think that there's anything that's malicious. Without pads on, you certainly want to be mindful of trying to stay up, but also playing football. Trying to teach them the rules of if you're playing a football and you're going through the side of somebody, that's going to be okay. If you're going through the back of them, then that's a penalty. So we always want to stay up. We want to practice fast. We want to stay away from the quarterback, and we would like to avoid some of those collisions without pads on, and let that sometimes those are unavoidable.
There you go. Titans head coach Mike Vrabel after practice today hit on a variety of different things And there were a couple things that stood out to me, and I know you guys have those as well. We'll discuss that coming up next here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
It's training time for the Two-Tone Blue, and we have you covered. Talking Titans? Join us live from training camp for interviews and reports, giving you the latest on the Titans.
There's a lot of guys that are making an impact on me, both good and bad.
I like some of the depth. I think that's the key right now.
Training camp coverage is fueled by Harman Energy. Visit HarmanEnergy.com, your one-stop petroleum solution on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Scattered showers and thunderstorms possible this afternoon, but it will be cooler this weekend. Highs fall to the 80s. It's hot and humid again next week.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Honey, what's an 8-letter word for difficult to explain?
When we planned on retiring, we never planned on Medicare being so confusing.
What's a 6-letter word for special skills or knowledge?
Fortunately, Farm Bureau Health Plans is an expert on all things Medicare. With 75 years of helping Tennesseans, they helped us understand our Medicare options.
Why are these things so complicated?
Talk to your local representative or visit fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Is your mattress keeping you up all night? Tossing and turning? Needing a new mattress but don't know where to go? Well, shop at Social Furniture today, where they sell comfort. They have all of the top brands like Sealy, Stearns & Foster's, Simmons, Serta, and Purple Mattress. Social Furniture offers sofa beds, loft beds, twin beds, queen beds, king beds, kids beds, and beds for your whole family. There's no waiting, and they have same-day delivery. Visit Social Furniture in West Nashville at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. Forget the big box store. Shop local. Shop social.
Jump into the thrill at Bally's Evansville Casino. Play to win with lots of slots and live and electronic cable games. Visit the High Limit Room for an elevated experience. Take a break with a cold tap house brew or a snack at the deli. For more elegant dining, check out the flavors, river views, and music at Kavanaugh's. Enjoy a relaxing stay at the Bally's Hotel or the luxurious Legends Tower. Plan your casino getaway at Bally'sEvansville.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexroad.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Mentioned just how much he's learned from Robert Woods in the past month or so, just all the advice he's taken. He can go to with him with any questions, just how valuable, is it to have a guy like Woods, a vet, in there that can pass on that info?
Well, we like to have that at every position, and obviously, Robert's done it at different places. So when you do it at different places, that means that you've been around other players and, other coaches, and can always add and, bring professional initiative to not only the meeting room, but to an individual that, hey, I struggle with this too. I think there's some amount of empathy that some of these veterans have for the younger guys, and saying, hey, I can remember when, I struggled, or I dropped the ball, or I went through this. And, it's great to have Robert here with us helping, the group and the rest of the offense.
Titans head coach Mike Vrabel talking about Robert Woods. Mentoring. Here we go. Mentor gate starting again. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Chase McKay, Willy Donick, Derek Mason with you here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Some interesting things that came out of Mike Vrabel's press conference, including that, talking about, Traylon Burks and the younger receivers leaning on Robert Woods. I mean, Derek, you went through that on both sides of it in your career coming in. You've talked about Chris Sanders and your relationship with him and how he kind of helped you some and others. And then as you became a veteran wide receiver, you did the same thing. And I think guys are different in how they want to mentor somebody. I mean, some are, hey, watch me. Some are, I'll sit down and talk to you and kind of go through it with you. But I think adding Robert Woods in here while you have Traylon Burks as a rookie is definitely going to be beneficial.
Yeah, it will be. It's hard for a rookie to come in without any, come in and be the guy and while trying to learn an offense. That's very difficult. Learning offense, learning a new environment, that's difficult to do. It's difficult on the college level. It's definitely difficult on the pro level. When you can have a veteran guy that you can sort of lean on, that you can ask questions, and that veteran guy can pick you up when things are not quite going that well, that's an added plus. And to get someone like Robert Woods, who, like Vrabel said, listen, he's been on multiple teams, so he understands. He's been around different players in the receiver room, so he understands how to approach different situations. So for Traylon, and as well, Westbrook Akina and the rest of the guys, it's valuable to have a guy like Robert Woods in your receiver room. He's a winner. He's won the Super Bowl. He's had some really good seasons, and he's had a not so good season in regards to him getting hurt. So he's been through that. He knows how to work back from all of that. So, when a young guy is going through a bad stretch during practice or during the season, he's able to sort of, think back on his times as a rookie or a second-year player, and can give those guys some valuable information that can help them move forward.
I thought it was funny. Teron asked about he kind of termed it the back half of the wide receiver room.
Well, that's what it is.
And
the
I know
back half.
it's accurate, but Mike Vrabel
Head
always
coach didn't like that.
Well, he always loves to rib Teron. I guess because Teron's a fellow Met fan like myself, but I don't know if maybe that's it or not. But he has a good rapport with Teron. But I just put that out because the Mets are leading by 3 games now. Chase,
oh my God,
over your Braves.
It's July.
But how do you? Yeah, the Braves did kind of kick it in when the calendar went to August last year. So anyway, Derek, though that is an interesting group to watch. A lot of people are going to be watching it. Teron's asking to see who's maybe inching ahead of the other one right now, and I do wonder as we watch Robert Woods and we are focused on Traylon Burks, how that affects those other guys who are trying to slot and get into that rotation.
Well, I mean, does it affect them from – listen, they have to make the team. So whether they're the 6th receiver on the depth chart or the 4th receiver on the depth chart, they're trying to make this ball club. Everything else will get sorted out, once the season starts. If they go out and practice and when things get padded up, and when Tampa and Arizona comes in here, and then the preseason, if they show that they're making progress and they can play in this league and play at a high level, then, where they're slotted really don't matter. First, you got to make the team. Then once you make the team, they will find a role for you within that team. So, having Robert Woods on this team, having Robert Woods in that receiver room helps. Again, it helps those guys, from the standpoint of when they're not having a good day, they can always lean on him. How do I bounce back from this? What do you think the coaches are thinking? Because that's the biggest thing with young players. It's like they have a bad day, and it's like, man, I wonder what the coaches are thinking of me. Or is he going to cut me? Especially for guys that were not drafted in, say, the first 3 or 4 rounds. it's always that fear of, oh, I had a bad day, so he's going to cut me,
Yeah.
eventually. And Robert Woods can be a guy that said, listen, man, just do what you do. Go out there and don't worry about that aspect. Control what you can control, and that's going out there and putting together multiple practices, multiple days of good practices.
Mike Vrabel said the pads will go on Monday. We'll be out there for that, so that'll be the first day in pads for the Titans. And look, Derek, as you know, you get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping. But if you're the coach and you're John Robinson, you're just praying that everybody comes out okay and nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, that's first and foremost. But, listen, you go into padded practice, and in the back of your mind, you're like, hope nobody get hurt. But
did you get fired up, though? Like when you put the pads on, or were you like, man, now I got to get hit?
No, I mean, it's like now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit. No, but those are because I've always approached it differently. Like, listen, I have a defensive mentality. That's just the way, my brothers raised me in the game. It's to be physical, go at them, don't quit. You got to play as if you're a defensive player. And that's the way I approach it. So when we got in the past, it was always good for me. Let me get hit a few times. They weren't going to hit me to hurt me, but it was okay. Hit you, thud you up. Never got really taken to the ground, but it was thud you up. I'm going to let you know I'm here, and I'm good with that, because to me, you need that to prepare yourself for a game. I've never seen someone that goes through, training camp in shells and then expect to go out there and be full go the first game of the season. You got to get hit. The game is hit and be hit. You know what I'm saying?
I remember Jeff Fisher talking about this to, quote, unquote, the new media. He was really helpful to us. Like, people had never covered the NFL before, people like myself. And he was talking about padded practices. And, you don't tackle fully, right? He talked about the thuds that you just brought up. So tell us for people that don't know what that is, what does the thud mean? And I want to get your best story of maybe a young player that didn't really understand it. Like, I remember somebody always is so enthusiastic the first practice, he might really want to tackle somebody. You're not supposed to tackle fully, though. What is a thud?
A thud is just for a defensive guy is getting in a good defensive position to make a tackle, but just lightly hit the guy just to let him know I'm here.
Yeah. So you're not wrapping him up and taking him down.
You're not taking him down to the ground. It's just, okay, it's getting in a good tackling form, getting your pads where they're supposed to be, hitting that guy in a position he's supposed to be hit in, and just thudding him and just kind of walking away. Because typically when you thud a guy, he may slow down a little bit, and then the next guy come and thud him, then the next guy thud him, and just kind of, you kind of go on your way. So we were really good at that because Fish used to preach that. Listen, we got to learn how to practice. If we can learn how to practice, then we don't have to have these padded practice. Back then, if you had a bunch of padded practices, that means guys didn't know how to tackle. Guys didn't know how to, get in the correct form and tackle. We didn't have a lot of, we had our share, but then we had our share of shells too, where we just thud a guy up because we understood what we were doing and we were protecting one another.
Now, if a guy didn't get it, what happened? Like, if there's always that guy, right? It's too
hold
maybe
that
it's
thought. Hold that thought. Calling a timeout. Hold that thought.
I want to hear this story.
Yeah, coming up next, I want to hear that too. And also, there could be a competition with the Titans that we didn't realize was happening. I want to talk about that too. Coming up next here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a beach day. And with 35 miles of pristine, sugary white sand, it's easy to see why. So let's grab the beach bag, the beach ball, and the boogie board. Let's pack the suits, the sunscreen, and the sunglasses. Take a dip in the emerald green waters of the Gulf. And then take in a breathtaking sunset at the end of the day. So let's make a beeline to the beach and let's shine. Plan your next getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
You watch the game.
And the score! Philip Forsberg from the left circle.
We talk the game.
You can't just pick up one guy and be competitive in the playoffs.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Willy Donick here. Are you feeling the sting of higher interest rates and higher costs? Those credit cards and other loans are costing more and more every month, and inflation is making everything else more expensive. Your home can save you right now. Your home value is up, and there's a ton of cash in it that you can access with Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. You can get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off those 23% rate credit cards and other loans. Consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut $800 or more from their monthly budget. If your home mortgage rate goes up a point or so, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. So call Loan Pronto now and unlock that equity and wipe out the bad debt. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Sheet Metal Workers Local 177 is looking for the next great skilled construction tradesman out there. Are you unhappy with your current situation and seeking a better opportunity? If you have prior years of experience and are getting overlooked, it's time to advance your career and start your journey with Smart Local 177. They offer great benefits and job opportunities that are waiting for you. Further your career in the construction trade industry at sheetmetal177.com or call 615-292-0587. An equal opportunity employer.
For the first time, saddle up in Smashville. 6:30 tomorrow at Nissan Stadium for WWE SummerSlam. See undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns face Brock Lesnar in a last man standing match. Liv Morgan defends the SmackDown Women's Championship against Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Pat McAfee vows to shut down Happy Corbin and more. 3 seats are still available, and tickets start at $25 at Ticketmaster.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3. Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushes.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
12 o'clock hour, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Chase McCabe, Willy Donick, Derek Mason here with you. WWE superstar, the almighty Bobby Lashley coming up here in just a few minutes. But continuing discussion, Mike Vrabel's press conference, Titans training camp. Derek was talking about some putting the pads on. What'd you call it?
The thuds. The thuds. First
yes.
practice in pads. We were talking. He was defining what thud meaning you, as the defensive player, you get in position. You show the coaches, I'm there. I'm going to make this tackle, but you thud the guy and you don't wrap up and take him down. But sometimes, like for rookies and stuff, enthusiastic, they can go a little too far. So what were the rules like if a guy went too far?
And stay tuned because we'll also have Titans trivia coming up at 12:15. For a chance to win Elton John tickets.
Ah, yes, the Titans training camp trivia, and so you better have your thinking cap on today. If you want to go to Elton John, today the skill is not to work in like an Elton John song or a lyric, which that worked well earlier in the week for some of these guys, but this is straight-up trivia, and you're going to have to answer my question coming up. Elton John tickets. So what about – do you have any good stories about a rookie that didn't get it with the thuds?
I mean, typically what happens is, the first time you do it, it's like, okay. Stay up, rookie, stay up. Second time you do it, now we got a problem. You get out until you learn how to practice in the NFL. But you see a lot of like scuffles and fights because it's supposed to be thud, and then one of these big defensive linemen come in, and they just want to wreck shop and havoc on everybody. And then all of a sudden, you see one of these offensive linemen, not appreciating it one bit, especially when it's 90-something degrees.
So is
like
that where some of the fights? Is that where some of the fights break out?
Yeah, because it's
like
listen, we're supposed to be helping one another. We're in the thud, and you flat out tackling people or going a little bit too hard in this drill, and then you see a lot of guys kind of get upset, and then start the pushing and shoving. And then the pushing and shoving goes to wrestling, and then just mayhem, just everywhere, everybody.
I've always thought, Chase, that if you want to get on TV or get people talking about you on the radio show, all you got to do is start a fight in the practice. Training camp fights automatically. Yeah. Channel 2.
And then
there was a fight today.
And then you get kicked out of practice.
Man, I don't feel like you see them as much anymore, though.
No, because, you see some here and there, but they're quickly dissolved. They're like we're about to quickly squash it. And because, it's not necessarily the act, is what can happen because of the act. Somebody break a hand, break a finger, twist a knee or something.
What was
like
the
that.
best fight you saw?
Oh man,
did it involve B-Hop?
Nah,
B-Hop got it a couple.
I know. Big Albert got kicked out of
Albert
practice.
got kicked out.
Big Albert got kicked out of practice. I think it might have been his rookie year.
Yeah,
he was fighting. Man,
didn't
yeah, he got thrown out.
Okay,
he just wouldn't stop.
When Bruce was there, did Bruce allow it, or did Bruce say, "Hey, no, knock this off"?
Nah, Bruce.
Because Bruce was like the mayor.
Yeah, but what you got to understand, didn't nobody mess with Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce was just like, he was like the Don. Don't nobody mess with the Don at all. You can do whatever you want to, just don't mess with the Don, okay? But if a fight broke out, if Bruce had to get his hands dirty, he got his hands dirty, because he's protecting his guys.
Sure.
But I can't recall Bruce getting into many scuffles.
There was man, I'm trying to think of his name. I think he actually passed away. Oh man,
defensive lineman.
He went to
Evans.
Tennessee.
Not Evans.
Yeah, it was a defensive lineman. This is probably mid to late 2000s. This is after you left.
Oh, okay.
Jesse Mahalona. That's who I think it was. He got in like a scuffle, and he cried. Like he ended up, he got yelled at. Wash made him cry. Basically, it was.
Wash probably made a few people cry. Wash was hard on you, but you loved Wash because he would get the best out of you. Yeah. He'd pull the best out of you.
Oh, no doubt. So, a competition that could be brewing. It could just be early days in camp, but when we talked to Jonathan Hutton yesterday, he brought up Ryan Stonehouse, which is a great name. Punter out of Colorado State that is in camp. Brett Kern has been here since 2009. He's been in the league for 15-something years. And everybody, he reworked his contract this offseason, is back, but you asked Vrabel about it today, and he said we want competition in all positions. He didn't say it is a punting competition, but he gave the kind of the coach speak answer of we're looking for competition at every position. But, what do you guys think about this? Punter is not something we've had to think about because Brett Kern has been the standard for so long. Craig Hendrick was here for so long. But the Stonehouse guy, people are talking about him because he's got a cannon for a leg. He is just knocking the what out of the ball.
He's just like with Craig Hendrick. When you're in the league for X amount of years, and I think Craig played 15 plus, somewhere around there. Eventually, that young guy comes in, and supplants you as the starter, the long-time starter. And this is no case. This is no different from Craig's situation. Kern's been in the NFL 15 years, and he's been a really, really good punter. So much so, at one point, he might have been the best player on the team because of what he was able to do with his punts in the field position that he put the opposing team in. But it always at the end of the day, they always come back to, listen, there's always that young bull waiting behind you. And eventually, time catches up with you. And it's not that you still can't play, or in Kern's situation, you still can't punt. But this kid behind you is punting a little bit better than you are, and he's cheaper than you are. So this is going to be a battle. Now, listen, it's all gravy right now because it's practice. We got to see this kid boom one in a game, or a few of them in a game when people are coming at you ready to block the punt. And then that will tell me whether Kern's job is in jeopardy or not.
This is an interesting question to watch as we see this unfold, because there's no doubt in my mind that it's already caught the attention of the media. You heard Jonathan Hutton talking about him yesterday. When he launches one in a game, it's going to have everybody buzzing. But the art of punting is not just the leg. The leg is important, but it's much more important. Can you consistently put me inside the 10? Can you consistently
and that's what Kern
execute the coverage, right? If my coverage is going one way, can you put it in that area?
It's
to
ball
where we
placement.
Can cover the ball placement.
Ball placement. It's like golf.
100%.
Placing the ball right where you want it to go.
If it's me, if I'm the special teams coach, I'd rather have the guy like Kern that he doesn't boom it. He doesn't have the big leg, but he has ball control, and he can put. I mean, how many times have we seen Brett Kern put it out at the 6 or the 2, or just put it exactly where he wants it to go?
Yes, that's the kind of thing that had Bill Belichick saying, I think this guy might be their most valuable player.
Yeah.
Like, forget about their most valuable special teams player. I'm talking about player, period, because he was so good at that and still is. Of course, health is a consideration. And, of course, there is a certain amount of value to just being able to smoke one, from your own 1 yard line, or when the punter's sitting in the end zone, and get you out of trouble. So that's what we're going to have to find out, though, is how good is this kid at some of those other finer points that make you a real NFL punter.
Yeah, it's not just getting back there, and like you said, it's not just getting back there, and booming at 67 yards. Okay, that's great. But when we're at the 50 and we're not in a position to kick a field goal, can you place the ball inside the 5? Can you do that? Can you place the ball on a far sideline to trap the returner? Can you do that? Can you get enough hang time on the ball so that our coverage can get, down there to cover the guy? It's more than just, okay, let's kick it and go cover. This guy has a responsibility to place the ball where we're asking him to place it.
It is interesting that Jonathan Hutton brought this to our attention because his show is called Outkick. That is the origination of the term, right? Outkicking you can outkick the coverage in football. That's where that came from.
Yeah,
right?
Sometimes that's not good.
That's not
when
good.
You outkick the coverage, no.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's how Clay got the name, but but we'll roll with it for sure. Coming up next, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Elton John October 2nd at Nissan Stadium, but you must participate. You must do this on the air. 615-737-1025. We will have a Titans training camp trivia question for you. 615-737-1025. WWE superstar Bobby Lashley at the bottom of the hour. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
It's Tim Dillard bobblehead giveaway night with the Nashville Sounds. Tim's number 17 will be retired prior to the game. Make sure to arrive early for this special ceremony. Plus, stick around for post-game Friday fireworks. Gates open at 6 and first pitch is at 7:05. Get tickets at NashvilleSounds.com.
It's a fact. Guys hate going to the doctor. But when it comes to erectile dysfunction and low testosterone issues, men from all over Middle Tennessee have been thrilled seeing Dr. Alderson and the providers at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Men all the way up to 95 years old have jump-started their sex drive and energy levels. Lots of men suffer with ED for years, but now they're able to enjoy sex again. Tom from Nashville said, "The Tennessee Men's Clinic has changed my life. I have been able to be intimate with my wife for the first time in 5 years. She thought this problem was because of her, but the pills never worked for me. I had given up until I went to the clinic and realized there were more options for erectile dysfunction. Now I'm happy and my wife is happy. A visit for only $99, and that includes all testing, including a PSA and testosterone test. Give the guys at the clinic a call at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090. Or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Family Leisure is having a come out and play sale.
That's right. Family Leisure is inviting you to come out and play with the new swimming pool, spa, or patio furniture set.
Hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. DIY pools start at only $16.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed.
Installation in less than 10 days on average.
More than 100 spas in stock and incoming. Artesian, Strong, and LPI spas starting at only $29.99.
What about the patio furniture?
Family Leisure has hundreds of sets in stock and on sale. Hanamint, Woodard, Tropitone, and Loft, all ready for immediate delivery.
Family Leisure also has the Sabre Infrared Grill in stock and on sale at only $11.99, and the Bull Grill Islands at only $39.99.
And Family Leisure has the Diamond Point Play Gym at only $25.99 installed and ready for immediate delivery.
Pool tables, massage chairs, and theater seating all on sale and ready for immediate delivery.
Come out and play at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
If you want your dental visit to feel like this, try new Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching a game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
My favorite Elton John song. Back here at Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, Derek Mason with you. Nick Keyser on the ones and twos. Your opportunity to win Elton John tickets. But you must participate in trivia at 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Whoever gets the question right first will win a pair of tickets to see Sir Elton John at Nissan Stadium on October 2nd. Are you ready, Willie?
Are you bringing it, Willie?
I am
You're
ready.
bringing it?
And by the way, I'm taken back. When you hear that song, I think of a movie. You know what movie I'm thinking of? When you hear Tiny Dancer?
I don't.
Almost Famous. You ever seen Almost Famous?
Yeah.
It's a good scene. Good scene in that movie.
Yeah.
They're kind of down.
Who's in that movie?
Who is in that movie? Kate Hudson.
Oh, okay. I need to check it out.
Is in that?
I need to look at the.
She might have won an Oscar or been nominated for an Oscar for that movie. It's a Cameron Crowe movie.
I mean, she was the main.
Zoe Deschanel is in that movie. Who else
her.
is in that?
Billy Crudup.
Billy Crudup. Yeah,
Crudup.
he's the lead guy. He's really good. It's a good movie. It's a real good movie.
Yeah. Jason Lee.
Yeah,
he's in it.
It's not like superstar actors in that.
No, but it is a good
It's a
movie.
good, solid movie. But they sing Tiny Dancer in there.
Tiny Dancer.
So we got a little Titans trivia. Jump in 615-737-1025. We've been asking these questions. Part of the saga is some people have tried multiple times to win these tickets with the trivia. Some have succeeded, some have failed, and they've done it in front of everybody on the radio, but they can say that they tried.
Hey.
They can say to
what?
their friends this weekend, you know what? I went on the radio and I tried to get the question. I got stumped, but I'm coming back. I'm coming back next week.
Not how many times you fail, how many times you get up.
That's right.
I have two quotes that come to mind when you say that. The first one is Master Yoda, do or do not, there is no try.
Right.
And for the ones that have failed Homer Simpson. Trying is the first step towards failure.
And here's another one.
See, that's very pessimistic.
And here's
Jason.
another one. The man that sleeps on the floor never falls out to bed. I'm just saying.
All right. 615-737-1025. Dylan has been trying,
He's trying
his hardest.
Come
this
on,
week.
Dylan.
Dylan,
Hey,
could today
I'm
be the
back.
day?
All right.
Yeah,
So
you know what? If I don't, I'm still standing, as Alton would say.
see,
that's good.
Dylan, you can tell he really wants these
good.
tickets. He wants them bad. He's going to get the first crack at today's question.
If you get-
615-737-1025. Don't be that guy that texts the answer in.
No.
The
If you
texting doesn't do you any good. You got to do this on the air. You're putting yourself out there.
If Dylan gets this right, Derek is going to sing your song.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. The Tennessee Titans have 6 consecutive winning seasons, 6 in a row, going even back to the Mike Mularkey.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 straight 9-7s before Mike Vrabel has come on and had 4 straight. There's only one team in the NFL that has more consecutive winning seasons currently than the Titans. Can you name that team, Dylan?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, somebody that's consistent. Okay, more than 6, right?
Yep. There's only one team.
Okay. I'm going to guess. Is it the Green Bay Packers?
Is it the Green Bay?
Please, no!
Once again, Dylan.
Dylan. I mean, this concert is in October. By October, will he have the tickets? Will
I
he
hope
have tickets
so.
to this?
Well, see,
now, where is everybody else? Did we scare
I
everybody
know,
else
like-
off? What's the deal? Did the phones go dead?
because I was about to give Dylan another shot if nobody else had called.
We're going to have some more guessers here. 615-737-1025. There's only one team in the NFL that has more consecutive winning seasons than the Titans.
And the Titans have 6, right?
They have 6. So it's
Okay.
got to be somebody who's had winning seasons in more than 6. By the way, speaking of trivia, if you love the trivia, we are going to have a trivia night brought to you by Stars. Of course, my wife Erin has worked for Stars for a long time. Derek is on the board, partnering with 102.5 The Game. We're going to be on the east side at Boom Baz, and we're going to have one of those trivia nights. So if you love sports trivia, then just kind of mark that down next month, August 24th. We're going to have a good time. And I love to be the game show host. I'm going to be the trivia master that night. So I'll be ready to rock.
Awesome at it. Yeah, you're very good at it. All right,
So we're going to have some fun. Raise
Now
money
they're
for
loading
goods.
up.
Now,
There we go.
Now that I've given the question, maybe the audience is smarted up and they didn't want to be on the line and then get the question and
They
not
can,
know
they
it.
can Google it off the
Well, we'll see. We'll see. So let's go to Kevin.
Kevin, welcome in.
Hey, how are you?
Kevin, are you ready for this?
Man.
Do you know the answer?
I do, man. And listen, I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so of course it's got to be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, God, please, no!
Oh, it's not.
It is not the Steelers.
It is not your Steelers.
It is not the Steelers. Consecutive
That's a good
winning
guess.
records.
That's a good
winning
guess.
records. 8-8s don't count.
Yeah.
And that's where the Steelers is incorrect.
All right, let's go to Andrew. Andrew, welcome in. Do you know the answer?
Is it the Kansas City Chiefs?
It is the Kansas City Chiefs.
It is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ding, 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 ding. All right, Andrew.
We're going to help the rookie back there with the sound effects.
I know.
thought we were going to have like a big crowd
He's
erupting.
Hey, he's doing great.
He's doing great.
Nick is doing
Yeah,
great.
there's 1,200 people calling now.
Congratulations, Andrew. Hey, man.
That's good.
Got to make him feel good about it winning.
What the hell just happened?
He just won.
That wasn't
tickets.
an Elton John song.
No.
I know.
That was D-Mase just being D-Mase.
Yeah. There it
All
was.
right. Andrew, good job. So how did you look it up, Andrew, or did you just know it?
I just had an instinct between Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith, but just kind of a guess.
Yeah, honestly, that one was a little tougher to look up. You had to do that. So that has been a strategy.
Somebody texted, a friend of mine texted me the answer on Facebook, and it was Kansas City.
Yeah, they have 9 straight winning seasons going back to 2013. So the consistency, which is not easy in this league.
No.
The Patriots had a long streak for a while, but they fell off a couple years ago in the post-Tom Brady for a season. So that is the answer. The Kansas City Chiefs. 6 in a row for the Titans, 9 in a row for the Chiefs.
Well, there you go. Congratulations, Andrew. We'll put you on hold and get your info. I think Nick is doing that now. So you've definitely enjoyed these trivia questions this week. We've had some good ones.
I'm all over it. It gets you in the flow for football. You know, bringing it back.
I know. And we're going to be doing that too. You have some fantasy football questions too.
Oh, yes. Fantasy, this is also trying to get into the flow. I've got 3 fantasy questions for you guys.
We're going to do that after Bobby Lashley.
Let's do that. So just get your fantasy flow going. We'll get a little wrestling flow here. We had Ric Flair come out to the thing. Chase almost came right out of his shoes.
I'm mad at I should have just said, guys, look, I need you to handle this for a second and at least
I thought it was there. I thought you were going to climb over the table and run across the field.
Like Jill got 5 minutes with him. I mean,
man, Chase.
I'm very disappointed in myself that I didn't put I'm happy with myself because I didn't put myself above the team. I stayed with my teammates.
And that's going to get you a lot of points.
It will. Yeah. It will.
But
maybe I'll meet him this weekend.
You could have kind of exercised the suit card.
I could have
exercised the suit card.
I could have done that.
And we would have understood.
I mean, John Robinson was understanding.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I'd be eating lunch. Like, I get it.
So
it is a big weekend here in our city because WWE is bringing SummerSlam to Nissan Stadium. And I do think that's significant because we've talked about the big events. We've talked about the new stadium. This is, to me, WWE dipping their toe in the water to see how Nashville could potentially handle a WrestleMania here in the future. And so I'll be there Saturday night. I'll be curious of the crowd and what it's like. I drove by the stadium. They already have the canopy up that's going to cover the ring, which will be cool. So I think it's going to be neat. Also, at Municipal Auditorium Sunday night is Ric Flair's last match. That's why Ric Flair is here, as he will wrestle in a tag match. His son-in-law, Andrade, teaming up with him and going against Jay Lethal and our buddy, Double J Jeff Jarrett. So that's going to be pretty cool at Municipal Auditorium. Big weekend of wrestling here in Nashville, and there's also the StarCast convention. I actually had a chance to talk to Eric Bischoff. You can go to thegamenashville.com and hear that. But you guys know I love wrestling, so this will be a fun weekend for me. That's for sure.
Oh man, you're in heaven.
I am, but this is yet another event. There's never been a wrestling event at Nissan Stadium. This is the first time.
Is it?
So,
oh wow,
yeah, WWE's coming there for the first time. So I think that's significant just to the fact that our city's growing in the events they could potentially have.
Well, hopefully the rain holds off. It's been raining off and on.
As long as it doesn't lightning, it will be okay because the ring's covered.
Okay, cool.
So it'll be all right.
We'll take that.
Yeah, we will. Coming up next, we're going to talk to WWE superstar Bobby Lashley. The Almighty will be defending the United States Championship at SummerSlam at Nissan Stadium. You'll hear my conversation with him next here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
If you're on the road between downtown Nashville,
they're still in good shape to make the playoffs,
and I-840.
Players make it clear they don't want to be somewhere anymore.
There's a new way to hear all your favorite shows and sports programming on 102.5 The Game.
I go back to that play and I shake my head. What I was worried about is that they were still just going to keep the goal.
It's 106.3 FM.
Think about all the good Titans teams. This is very much so a run-first offense.
Now you have 2 choices to hear Nashville's best sports talk. Check out 106.3 now and add it as a favorite.
Jason Bottom's Led Zeppelin Evening. Live. An unforgettable evening of Led Zeppelin's greatest hits and deepest cuts. November 30th at Ryman Auditorium. Tickets on sale now at Ryman.com. Jason Bottom's Led Zeppelin Evening. Sponsored by PNC Bank and Access. Proud partners of Ryman Auditorium.
Tune in to ESPN 102.5 The Game every Tuesday afternoon at 4:30 for ESPN's Trevor Maddich joining me, Jared Stillman, on Stillman & Company as we dive deep into the college football world and all the latest from the SEC. It's all brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Hey, it's Chad Withrow, and you've heard me talk about my buddies Hunter and Richard at Regal Realty Group, and now they've made it even easier for you to buy and sell a house. Not only will they help you from contract to closing and everything in between, but now they have a direct phone number for our listeners. 833-OUTKICK is the only number you need for your realty needs. And the team at Regal Realty Group, they've been in the industry for years and will help you manage buying and selling in any economy. Let Regal Realty Group do the heavy lifting. Give them a call at 833-OUTKICK.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky, saving, looking for a sign of life, 'cause it's too cold for you here.
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz. Saturday, the stars of the IndyCar head to the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy Grand Prix.
Go, baby! An IndyCar winner!
Coverage begins at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
We are back here, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and very, very excited about WWE SummerSlam coming to our city this Saturday at Nissan Stadium. WWE SummerSlam, going to be a lot of fun, and Bobby Lashley is on the line with us. He's taking on Theory for the United States Championship. Bobby, how are you?
I am 100%. I'm fantastic.
Now, I've been seeing you on Twitter and obviously on TV. You're ready to give a little something to Theory coming up this Saturday at Nissan Stadium, aren't you?
Oh yeah. You know what? It's for me this time. I'm trying to give more to the crowd. Theory is a young, hungry kid. I've had matches with him before. I know what he's capable of doing. I'm prepared. I think I'm going to walk through him. I think I'm going to beat him up really bad. And it's purely for the enjoyment of the crowd. I'm looking to put on a good show for the city of Nashville and all of the WWE universe.
What does Nashville mean to the WWE? I mean, we see you guys several times a year, and, you know, you weren't on the road for a while with COVID, but you've been back a few times, and now to be at Nissan Stadium for the first time, what does Nashville mean to the WWE?
Man, I tell you what, I'm sitting at my hotel right now, looking out the window, and I'm just admiring the growth of Nashville, and it is incredible. I mean, years back we used to come here, it wasn't like this, but since we've been back, it's been incredible. I mean, the growth of Nashville. Nashville's a beautiful city, and every time we come here, the crowd is incredible. So, as WWE, as a universe, as us, we always like to come to the places where we get that kind of energy. And when we get this kind of energy, we put on great shows. So every time we came up here, we put on great shows. And this is just another one of them. This is our second biggest show of the year, arguably our biggest show of the year. So bringing it back to Nashville is a cool experience because the only thing bigger is WrestleMania, which would be in Los Angeles. So this is going to be a great show. This is going to be that show that kind of like sets the tone for the rest of the year and gears us up for WrestleMania. So it's huge.
We're talking to the almighty Bobby Lashley, SummerSlam this Saturday at Nissan Stadium. You can still get some tickets at Ticketmaster.com. So since coming back to WWE a few years ago, you've obviously had a tremendous run, including finally winning the WWE Championship. What was it like for you to be WWE champion for the first time in your career?
I mean, it was a dream come true. It's one of those things that eluded me for a long time in my career for several different reasons. I mean, it was not the right time. Didn't have an opportunity to make it there. I mean, there's all kinds of different reasons that I can say. But the one thing that I told myself when coming back is, I spent so many years in this wrestling business. I mean, I started out in 2004. So I told myself that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I never thought it wasn't going to happen. It was just when. I just got to keep grinding and getting there. And when it happened, I mean, it was one of those surreal feelings. I mean, I didn't sleep for days afterwards because everybody was calling me and we were celebrating it. It was just an amazing experience. You never know what it's like to be a WWE champion until you get there. And man, it was an amazing feeling.
Well, and the other thing too, like I know, I was excited for you as a longtime wrestling fan. A lot of people in the industry, we're excited for you. What does that mean to know that you have the support because your hard work has been noticed over the years?
Yeah, one of the biggest compliments that I had and I heard, and it was from a lot of my peers and a lot of other wrestlers in different organizations. They said it's just a simple statement. They said he deserves it, and that hit me more than anything else because when you're grinding, when you're going through things. For me, I'm usually in isolation. I train on my own in Colorado and do stuff in the mountains, and I'm always grinding. And you never know if people really appreciate the work that you put in, because it's no one really knows. But when it finally got to that point and people said, you know what, you deserve it, that made me feel really good. It made me feel that all this work that I've been putting in has been noticed. And I mean, I was getting even some of the compliments that I got, and I took those the same way. They'd say, you know what, I wasn't really a big fan of Bobby Lashley, but when he won it, I was like, you know what, he does deserve it, and I am a fan, and I think I brought people over to understanding what I'm about, and what I go for. I mean, I'm that guy. I mean, I won nationals a few times in college, and I'm a single father. I've been grinding forever. I fought in Bellator. I fought in Strike Force. I did a lot of things to just kind of make my character, my person, stronger, and I continue to do so. And it's just a day-to-day thing for me. So I won the title once. Don't have it now. I have the United States title, and I'm sure 100% that I will be back in that title picture, and I will definitely win it again before I retire.
Bobby Lashley is with us, WWE SummerSlam this weekend. And, yeah, you mentioned the United States title. I mean, that is a prestigious title as well that you've held a couple of times. So with knowing the history of that championship, how important has it been for you?
It's been super important because one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to legitimize that title more. Because over the years, some people have stole that title. Some people have taken that title. Some people have ran with that title in less than in my opinion, less than ways that they should have. Let's put it that way. But now I put that title on the line, and I told people, and I said this on TV. I said, you know what? I'm willing to fight anybody from any organization for that title. I don't care who it is. And I don't think that anybody that holds a championship or even in the wrestling business across the board can beat me for that title. So when I put out a statement like that, that brings that title up to the level of a world championship title. It's the United States title. I'm the champion of the United States, which is just as important as any other title in this business. And I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it that strong.
Bobby, you've had a couple of different runs in WWE. You basically started, your rise to fame in WWE and then left for a little bit, did some of the MMA stuff and then came back. What's kind of been the difference in run one, ECW champion then, and then coming back run two, obviously winning the WWE title?
I think when I first came in, I was just a young, dumb kid that was strong and had a lot of energy, and I was just running. So I was running, just fighting. I had no rhyme or reason to what I was doing. I was like, I'm just going to get there. As I got older, it was and did the MMA and everything like that. What I was trying to do is I was trying to legitimize my character, show people what I was all about. Because a lot of times people don't know what your background is. You can tell them, but they have to see it. So when I stepped away for a while, the fighting kind of gave people in a different audience a chance to know who I was. So when I came back, my run this time, I've been a little bit more intelligent. I trained different. Everything about my character has been different. It's the same Bobby Lashley, same energy, same strength, same tenacity, same everything in that sense. But I'm young, I'm older, and I'm a little bit more thoughtful, and I think about things like when we ran through the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business had a meaning behind it. The Hurt Business was a group of guys that had all the potential in the world that just had to reach their potential. And then we brought that old style of wrestling back. When I first came into the business, I had the JBLs, I had the Booker T's, I had the Fit Finleys, I had the Taker, I had Guerreros. I had all these different guys that when we came up, those were our mentors, those were our gatekeepers. Those are the people that we had to either get to their level or beat in order to be a champion in the business. And when I came back, I became that guy, being a world champion, being multiple-time champion, intercontinental champion, U.S. champion, ECW champion. So I had all the accolades. So all these younger guys coming up, like the Theories, the Riddles, the Apollos, all these guys, they had to go through me in order to get to that position. So I have to keep myself at a stronger level so that these guys have a higher level to reach. So that's just I just have a different role in the business for me is to keep the integrity on the titles and keep this business running in the direction that it should be.
Yeah, no doubt. Bobby, real quick, as we wrap things up, Vince McMahon announced his retirement. What did Vince mean to Bobby Lashley?
Man, Vince was incredible. I mean, Vince, he's like a mentor. He's a pioneer of the business. He's always been the greatest mind in wrestling business. He built a company that all of us are eating on today. And I told him this. I said, man, it's amazing how many people and lives that you've taken care of. You put my kids through school. You put so many other people's kids through school. You put roof over my head and so many other wrestlers' head. I mean, what Vince McMahon has done for this business, it's just incredible. And Vince has always been somebody that's been near and dear to my heart. So hopefully things get worked out in that sense. But Vince has been definitely a blessing in my life.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Bobby, best of luck this Saturday against Theory, defending your United States Championship at Nissan Stadium. But thanks so much for doing this, and we'll do it again soon.
Anytime, man.
That's the almighty Bobby Lashley. He will be defending the United States Championship this Saturday at Nissan Stadium against Theory. And you can still get tickets by going to Ticketmaster.com. It'll all get started at 6:30 at Nissan Stadium. Cannot wait. More coming here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Join Chase McCabe for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
On ESPN
102.5 and 106.3, The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Scattered showers and thunderstorms possible this afternoon, but it will be cooler this weekend. Highs fall to the 80s. It's hot and humid again next week.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Ever tried to shop for a diamond online? They all look great on the computer screen, but the fact is, most reputable jewelers like Genesis Diamonds wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
These are the diamonds that nobody wants to buy. We call them the B-quality diamonds.
That's Genesis owner Boaz Ramon, who says that even diamonds with the same grade and specs on paper can be very different when you see them up close in person, especially the ones from online dealers.
Those diamonds gonna look always cloudy or dirty. It's like you're wearing your glasses and there is fingerprints all over the glass. You just don't understand, or nobody told you that the material that this diamond was cut from was not the best material.
Why risk it? At Genesis Diamonds, they screen thousands of diamonds and only choose the best of the best for maximum brilliance, sparkle, and luster. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
I'm Boaz Ramon, and my accent is always on value.
Being present and in the moment for family activities was impossible because Will Burt was so focused on the constant pain in his leg.
My wife likes to take walks. I always kind of dreaded going on walks because they hurt. The boys both play baseball. I coach their teams. I was going to do them and be in pain and be uncomfortable and kind of sacrifice my own health.
An old Achilles injury left Will coping with agonizing pain until he discovered the natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No surgery or steroids. The procedure took place in the office, and Will walked right out.
I feel great. There's no pain. There's no tenderness.
Patients like Will are feeling amazing and living their best lives.
Ironically, just got off the golf course today, so I think that's a good telltale sign that the Achilles is feeling better.
Don't be in pain another day. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Jump into the thrill at Bally's Evansville Casino with 24-hour gaming excitement, 3 dining options, and 2 first-class hotels. Plan your casino getaway now at Bally'sEvansville.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Zines First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Back here, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming on the Game Nashville app as well. Appreciate Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, for joining us. You get tickets, Ticketmaster.com for SummerSlam coming up this weekend at Nissan Stadium. All right, Willy, I know you've been looking forward to this. You have your 3 fantasy football questions that you are going to throw our way.
Yes, I have 3 fantasy football questions for you guys today. This is going to allow us to spar, clash ideas, opinions, and through this process, guys, I feel confident that when it's time to pick our fantasy teams, we will be ready and prepared. That is the goal for this. So if you're out there listening and you know you're getting ready for a fantasy draft sometime in August, some of you have it a little bit earlier, some a little bit later, but this is how we get ready for our fantasy season. So you're not that guy that is scrambling when the clock is ticking and you're picking and you're like, I don't know who these guys are. Who do I pick? You know, you want to have been through this process, so when you see a couple names out there, best available, wide receiver, running back, and you see these names, you will have been through this process. That's the goal here.
To educate them.
That's right.
You are here to help people.
It's like Kyler Murray in the study room. We're doing our studying right now. This is our independent study.
This is our 4 hours.
Yeah, we're putting in. This is part of our 4 hours.
It's in our contract.
It's in the contract.
Exactly.
We got to do this.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Issue number 1. Van Jefferson from right here, Nashville, Tennessee. Ravenwood High School, is that right? Or have I got that wrong?
Ravenwood.
Yep. Ravenwood? All right. Last year, as we know, did some really nice things for the champion Rams. Had a good year. But last year, he was playing on a team with Odell Beckham, Robert Woods, who's not there anymore. Now he's not there. Those guys aren't there. So Van Jefferson now has an opportunity to big-time upgrade his stock. So my question to you guys is Van Jefferson this year a guy who you would bet would have more than 1,000 yards this season?
He finished with 800 yards last year, averaged 16 yards a catch, which is phenomenal, 6 touchdowns. And a lot of it was after Robert Woods went down. In this offense, and they went and got another receiver. God, what is the guy's name?
It was
a veteran guy. Is it the guy from Pittsburgh? Not Pittsburgh, but the Bears. Was it?
Are you thinking of?
I know they went and got another veteran wide receiver.
It's
but
not Allen Robinson, is it?
It might be.
No, yeah,
Allen Robinson.
Allen
Yeah, it was Allen Robinson. So I'm sure it will be Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson as the starters. But
they have Tutu Atwell too. That
exactly
is a second-year guy.
Exactly. So they have guys. They have talent in that room. I would say, based on this offense, and a lot of people will be trying to take Cooper Kupp out of the rotation in the sense of him catching a lot of passes. I think Van Jefferson will catch over 1,000 yards. I think he will.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think he will too. I'm curious. They've used Tyler Higbee a lot, but we saw Bryson Hopkins
came on during the Super Bowl.
So I think he's going to get more opportunity. As well. I mean, they're at the tight end position. So Jared Pinkney's in camp with them right now.
Jared Pinkney.
Yeah, he's in camp with them. But I agree. I think over 1,000 for Van Jefferson.
And I love his ability to get down the field. As you mentioned, he's a deep threat. So you could see 10 touchdowns, I think, in that offense.
In that offense.
We know how Stafford can stretch the defense. He's got the arm. I do think he's a really good breakout candidate.
Yeah.
Van Jefferson. So I do wonder how early you could take him, because I'm reading one article on The Athletic that categorizes him as a sleeper. I don't know if I would say he's a sleeper. People know him, and he's on a high-profile team. I think more of a breakout guy than a sleeper. I don't know if you could grab him in like the 15th round.
Nah.
He's going earlier than that.
Yeah.
I think.
He's going earlier than that. So.
Okay, issue number 2. This is an either-or. Let's say you're in your draft somewhere in the mid-rounds, and these two names are popped up that you're kind of weighing. Option 1 is Deontay Foreman. Plays for Carolina. We know Christian McCaffrey has played only 10 games over the last 2 years. He's missed 23 out of 33 games in the last 2 years. That's why they signed Foreman. Don't know exactly how many times he's going to get the ball. Maybe we'll have a better idea as we move forward here. So that's option 1. Option 2 is Miles Sanders of the Eagles. Now, he famously, and the Eagle fans remind him of this in their own way, which happens in Philadelphia. He had 0 touchdowns last year. 0.
Oh, wow.
As a running back. Now, we know Jalen Hurts likes to run the ball. They had some injury issues at running back. But the case has been made here on The Athletic, or as I'm looking there, on their little fantasy page, one of their writers says, hey, don't sleep on Sanders. He'll be healthy this year. They've got a better passing attack. They've got A.J. Brown. He's saying realistically he could get you 170 carries, maybe 50 targets as a receiver out of the backfield, and he could be a useful fantasy player. So if I give you the choice of Deontay Foreman or Miles Sanders, who are you taking?
I'm taking Foreman because, for one, I don't know if Christian McCaffrey's going to hold up. And then, 2, I think they're going to use him in a different capacity because they found out they can't just run him. He's not big enough. He's not built enough to be a runner between the tackles. So I think he's going to be more so the guy they get the ball out to, screen passes, sweeps. He's going to be in the backfield some, but I think Deontay Foreman is going to be their bruising back, guy they bring in the fourth quarter. So I'm going with Foreman.
You know what? I'm going to fade you on that one, D-Mase. I will take Miles Sanders.
Okay.
Philadelphia is going to be interesting for me. Is Jalen Hurts, what can Jalen Hurts be in that offense? Can he be a little bit better of a passer? We know what kind of athlete he is. How much of a factor is A.J. Brown going to have? Early reports are he's had a good camp so far, and he's looked good. I mean, Traylon Burks has looked good too. So let's just see what happens when they put the pads on. But I think Miles Sanders is a good back. I really liked him out of Penn State. It was funny, actually, I was leaving Indy, leaving the combine, and was going through security with Miles Sanders. So I talked to him a little bit when he was going through the combine. But I think he's he's a solid back and will bounce back. So I'll take Sanders.
A question for the future, too, is what do we think of Jalen Hurts as a fantasy quarterback because of the running element? Because by the end of the year, fantasy points-wise, he might have snuck up.
I think he'll be on rosters as like a backup.
I do wonder where people will draft him, but that's a question for another day. All right, question number 3 for today. Another either-or. Couple of wide receivers pop up on your chart. You've got a couple of young up-and-comers. Option A is Chris Olave from the Ohio State University. High pick, New Orleans Saints. You got Michael Thomas coming back from injury. What does he bring to the table? You no longer have Sean Payton. You also have Jameis Winston as the quarterback, hopefully coming back healthy. What does that mean for Chris Olave? He has apparently been very, very impressive in all of the workouts so far post-draft. They thought he did his homework to get ready for the draft. He's ready to come in and be an impact guy. That's option A. Option B is Rashad Bateman, a first-round pick from 2021 who played last year for the Ravens. And we talked about it a lot with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had a rough year. Number one, all of his running backs got hurt. He got hurt. They had a lot of adversity. They also lost Marquise Brown. Hollywood Brown was the one guy at wide receiver that he was throwing to a lot. We know they throw to the tight ends a bunch. Despite all of that, Rashad Bateman still had, his rookie year, a respectable 46 catches, 515 yards. So the argument is, without Brown, who's now playing for Arizona, Bateman could elevate and be the guy that really picks up the slack and has really good numbers this year. So which one is more attractive to you? Chris Olave, the shiny new toy, or the second-year guy in Rashad Bateman for the Ravens?
Well, Bateman only played in 12 games last year. So just add 5 more games to last year, and he has, maybe 800 yards and maybe 4 touchdowns because he only had 1. And then we would be asking, okay, can he increase his numbers from 800 like we just did a few minutes ago? Olave is tricky because he's still a rookie, and they still got Michael Thomas. But Jameis is
who did what last year?
He didn't do it. He was out last year. But Jameis is a deep ball thrower, but they're trying to get him to play sort of like Breeze did, short intermediate passes to set up the big play. So this one is tricky. I want to go with Olave. I really do, because of that offense. They love to pass the football. But I think Rashad Bateman, because Hollywood Brown's no longer there, he will get the targets that Hollywood Brown was getting. And if he plays 17 games, I could see him being a 1,000-yard receiver. So this one's really tough, man. I'm going to go with Olave because of the offense. But I still think Bateman will be a 1,000-yard receiver.
Think about how many times you've been in a draft and that clock's ticking and you're like, we need a receiver here. And you're weighing between 2 or 3 guys. Like, this is mid-round. This is where you win or lose your fantasy league a lot of times. If you find a guy who is on the verge of a breakout that you can get, I don't know what round we're talking specifically, 8 through 12. I don't know where these guys will pop up. The rookie first-round wide receivers are always, and there's 6 of them this year. Burks has one. Olave's one. There's a bunch of other ones too. So where do you draft those guys? Always an annual question. So what do you got, Chase?
I'm going to go Chris Olave. I think people are sleeping on the Saints, and
Okay.
I was one of them. But I pulled up some odds here. Jameis Winston is the second favorite to win NFL Comeback Player of the Year at plus 500. Any guess on who the favorite is? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Derrick Henry.
Yep. Derrick Henry at plus 300, according to Vegas Insider. But I think Jameis in that offense could really thrive. Everybody, I think, was looking at the Saints and writing them off a little bit because Sean Payton retired, however you want to put it. But I think that offense is going to be pretty good. So I'll go Chris Olave, the rookie.
Very good. All right, so we're going to have more of these as we get closer and closer to the regular season. We'll just keep popping those exercises up there, see what people think of this. And, of course, what we think today may change. Of course, guys get hurt. Guys flash in the preseason games. You always have to try to weigh that. Some people don't consider at all what happens in the preseason games. But You got to get ready for that fantasy draft.
Just don't have your fantasy draft too early.
No, never have it too early.
I never understood that. Like, guys, we're going to have the fantasy draft August 5th. What?
No.
Come on.
No, you do it before you do it Labor Day weekend, basically, is when I would do it.
That's the best way to go.
Coming up next, we'll talk to Mitch Light of The Athletic. We'll talk a little college football with him. But first, Willie, Loan Pronto. Tell us about that.
All right, homeowners, home buyers, listen up. Loan Pronto has some really good rates going right now, and you might be sitting on a big pile of money. So Loan Pronto can really help you. They can really help you right now. If you need some cash to pay off some bills, or you got a project, maybe it's a home improvement project, maybe you want to get a down payment for a new home, or maybe it's to simply pay off my credit card bills or a car loan, something like that. If you need some cash, Loan Pronto is a good engine for you. They have got the whole loan refinance program or the equity line of credit program. Either one will unlock your equity and get you the check so that you can address your needs. Loan Pronto makes unlocking your equity easy, and even with the home equity line, you can access up to 97% of your home's value. So call Loan Pronto now and get the details, and then you can start moving forward with your financial needs and projects you want to address this summer. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
You watch the game.
Line to left, coming on Newstrom. Base hit, Sounds win.
We talk the game.
But they knew he'd be really good. Well, if they don't make that move, they don't win those championships.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This is Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers. We understand that no one likes to deal with auto body repair and the inconvenience it becomes in your day-to-day life. I want to personally invite you to stop by and let our experienced staff see how we can help you make your vehicle look good as new. Apple Collision Center has 3 convenient locations: Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. Come by and see us or visit us online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
1 o'clock hour, Chase, Willie, and D-Mase here on a Friday. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, Derek Mason with you on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and we say hello to Mitch Light from The Athletic. Mitch, how you doing?
Chase, I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well today.
Doing fantastic, and it's good to have you with us as we talk a little college football as camps are starting to open. And, you know, we've spent so much time in the offseason talking NIL and conference realignment. How about I just start with a simple question? What team intrigues you the most? Doesn't have to be in the SEC, can be all over college football, but intrigues you the most of potentially doing some things this year in college football?
That's a good and difficult question because it's, you know, you brought up the NIL stuff. Usually at this point we're so sick of talking about teams and strengths and weaknesses and schedule that we're ready for football, and we're ready for football anyway. But like, I don't feel like this off season we've done enough talking about teams because there's been so much other stuff to talk about. So, I'll start in the SEC. I mean, I don't know if this is a team that I expect to be great or anything, but I'm intrigued by Florida. I was just reading up on them a little bit more, and Anthony Richardson's a guy that Florida fans kind of fell in love with last year when he was the backup quarterback, and he has all the measurables, and I know NFL scouts like him, but they're not great at the skill positions, and the secondary, which you used to always see at least one or maybe two future NFL cornerbacks back there, that they don't have as much depth in the secondary. Then you get Billy Napier coming in, and his job is to win games, obviously, but it's also to recruit better than his predecessor, and that things aren't going well for the Gators on the recruiting front. Miami is doing very well, and so I just think that's an intriguing program that, we used to just chalk up as a top 10 program, and it hasn't been the case recently. So, and then, I think we say this every year, but the entire SEC West is fascinating. Like Ole Miss, Jackson Dart's a really good quarterback, but they lost a ton, bringing a lot in the portal. And I think that's another thing. Like, how are these teams that relied on the portal a lot in the last couple of years, like Michigan State? They struck gold last year with Kenneth Walker. And, some coaches will tell you it's not a sustainable model. You don't want to rely on transfers every year. But, hey, if Mel Tucker does it again this year and they're recruiting a little better, maybe it is sustainable for them. So I think there's so many storylines all over the place. But I think if I had to pick one thing, it would be almost like, how are these teams that rely on transfers going to fare this year?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I did read the story on The Athletic about the sibling rivalry between Trevor Etienne, who's going to be a freshman at Florida, the team you just brought up, and then Travis Etienne, who, of course, is with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see how Trevor's college career fares. His brother's was obviously pretty good, and it worked out for him. But this is kind of a cool read about the rivalries that these two have.
Yeah, and I believe both from Alabama, maybe Louisiana, I forgot. But you bring up a good, because that's like a position. They have two, DeMarcus Bowman already transferred. I think he transferred to UCF. But Florida had two 5-star transfers on their roster last year. DeMarcus Bowman, I think it was, who transferred from Clemson after one semester, and then Lorenzo Lingard, who transferred from Miami. So, you think you're bringing in two 5-star running backs, one of them is going to pan out. Neither of them have so far. So there's an opportunity for Etienne to come in and do some things. Now, they have other guys there, but that's just an interesting storyline for Florida.
We'll talk with Mitch Light of The Athletic. Now, Mitch, it's still the consensus still in the SEC after SEC Media Days is that Alabama is the favorite to win the SEC championship game. Why is that, seeming that Georgia beat them in the national championship? Is it because people are not quite sold on Stetson Bennett, and they are with Alabama's quarterback?
I think that's a huge part of it. And, Stetson Bennett could win the national championship this year and then figure out a way to get a 7th year of eligibility or 8th, whatever it is. And I think we'd be having the same discussion next year. Now, saying he's not as good as Bryce Young is not a knock on Stetson Bennett. But they lost a lot. They lost a bunch on the offensive line. Their defense, I think 3 or 4 returning starters. So I think it's just the fact that Alabama has been the team that we can pencil in every year. But I think it's just a combination of not being in love with the quarterback position at Georgia, even though they've got they've got a talented quarterback room behind Stetson Bennett, where in the past couple of years they didn't really have much depth. I mean, was JT Daniels hurt last year or not? We never really knew, but this year they've got some 2 5-star quarterbacks who haven't played yet, that if something happens to Bennett. But I think it boils down to just the quarterback position and just overall program depth right now.
Now, also in the SEC, UT, how do you think they fare? Obviously, people are looking at Alabama 1, Georgia 2, Georgia to win their side of the SEC, but many people are not quite deciding on who will follow up Georgia, whether it's going to be Kentucky or possibly Florida, who you're intrigued by, or will it be Tennessee? What are some of the pros for Tennessee in regards to coming second or even really truly challenging Georgia to win that conference?
Yeah, I'll start with one of the cons there. It's the schedule. When you play Alabama every year out of the East, and the way the current schedule is, that not sure it's not a sure loss, but it's been for most teams in the SEC, and they go to LSU. Now, usually you chalk up LSU as a really difficult game, but LSU's a team in the West that could finish second or they could finish 5th. We don't really know. I think the positives for Tennessee are, the offense, the quarterback position. Hendon Hooker was very good last year. it's, some guys transfer out, skill position, but they're still very good there. Cedric Tillman kind of came out of nowhere, had a huge year last year, a lot of experience on the offensive line. And I just think there's a lot of program belief right now. It's just we study, and you guys know this, we study these coaching hires. And those of us that think we know what we're doing, you love this coach, he doesn't pan out. Josh Heupel, you have to be a true believer to really think that Josh Heupel was a great hire for Tennessee. And, we don't know what's going to happen down the road, but of all the first-year coaches nationally, he's right at the top of the list. That offense was very good. And so I'm a Josh Heupel believer right now. So I flip a coin, a three-sided coin for second in the East, but, right now I'd probably go Tennessee or Florida.
Believing the Heupel or something. There's a T-shirt there somewhere. I can see it's probably already being printed up.
He needs NIL money. Actually, I saw a quote from him. He's like, I would have loved to have NIL money back when he was starting quarterback at Oklahoma. Winning a national championship there, he would have earned some money.
Man, you could go back. College quarterbacks who were high profile that never turned into NFL quarterbacks who could have cleaned up at NIL and then had a lot of savings going into a professional career that did not include football. Right.
Well, that's kind of the theme of the NIL. Everyone's for these guys getting money, but it's the kids who aren't going to be, they don't know at this point, but the ones who aren't going to sign those big NFL contracts that you'd like to see profit off of that, and who become kind of like cult figures in their respective communities. And hey, maybe he's not going to be a top 2 or 3 round draft pick, but there's no reason why he can't profit off that. So the easy answer, Willie, is say someone like Tim Tebow and all that, but Tim Tebow didn't need the NIL money. You knew whatever he was going to do, he was going to be successful.
Mitch, speaking of quarterbacks, Will Levis, good personality, playing for a program that is not known for a long line of great college quarterbacks, right? They've had some lean years there. He's pretty good. What is your scouting report on him? I mean, because Kentucky's one of those teams that the expectations are going up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he passes the look test. I mentioned Anthony Richardson before. I don't have Levis's measurables in front of me, but I think he's 6'5". He's called big arm. It's funny, he transfers from Penn State, and I know a lot of Penn State fans wish they had him over Sean Clifford, who's back. I mean, they both had their moments in college, but I saw someone, I don't know if it was a story or basically compare. I think it was an Andy Staples mailbag on our site. Like, what's with the Will Levis hype? You compare him to Emory Jones's numbers at Florida last year, and they were very similar. And Jones got, I wouldn't say ran out of town, but he transferred to Arizona State, and Levis is considered his top prospect. It's just basically the measurables, and the fact that Kentucky is running a pro-style offense that the Rams, run. So I think scouts can get a good look at what he looks like in that type of offense there. So yeah, I mean they should be really good. I think Chris Rodriguez is back, outstanding running back. They have churned out really good running backs in recent years, and we know under Mark Stoops they're going to have good offensive linemen. So again, we've talked Florida, we've talked Tennessee, we've talked Kentucky. I think it's going to be a fascinating race.
Here's one, again, stealing out of the Athletics mailbag you just referenced to Andy Staples, your colleague. But one question I thought was a good one. Remember last year Wake Forest was kind of the fun, out-of-nowhere team that had a really good year. You always like to see that at some programs that don't have that year-in, year-out success. Do you have your eye on any team or two that could be that kind of team this year? Not necessarily to be in the playoffs or anything like that, but just to have a really good year.
I give you my answer that when back in my years in Athlon, Willie, I do all these interviews around the country. People would ask me that. My answer would be, if I knew, they'd be ranked in the top 10. They wouldn't be ranked 37. So that's my answer. I don't, UCLA is an interesting team to me. Talk about a guy whose star has fallen, Chip Kelly, as a head coach, but they've got some experience. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I believe is in his fifth year there, but fourth year as a starter. Zach Charbonnet, the running back, Charbonneau, I guess it is, the running back from Duke, was really good. So they're kind of the Utah's the favorite there. USC's lacking. Their defense was terrible last year. Wouldn't be surprised if UCLA, did some things. And I know we probably need to go, but Wake Forest you brought up. Ari Wasserman on our podcast talked about this, and we've talked about how there's no trades in the NFL. But what if a team like Wake Forest, who should be good again this year, had Sam Hartman, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but they're like, you know what? it's time for us to rebuild. Let's trade Sam Hartman to Texas A&M, who's got everything except a proven quarterback, and maybe we can get 3 or 4 of their 5-star recruits from last year on the defensive line. And so that helps Wake Forest build for the future there. So we had some fun with that on the podcast, and I just thought of that when you brought up Wake Forest.
Now, LSU is not too far removed from a national championship. Can Brian Kelly get them back to a position where they're competing, truly competing in the AFCC? Yeah,
I mean, I think there's no reason. LSU is one of those programs that has all the built-in advantages. They've got a very intriguing quarterback race too. Their recruiting is very interesting because, as we know, LSU, the state of Louisiana is a great state for talent, and they own that state. Now, Alabama's gone in and plucked some guys away in recent years, but LSU has a solid recruiting class for 23, but they're doing it going national. They're not doing it locally. In fact, the top 3 or 4 guys I think they only have one of the top 10 guys in state right now committed. And some theories are that, hey, they went out and hired Brian Kelly, who was at Notre Dame, had a national staff. So they're recruiting nationally because that's what Notre Dame did. So once this staff has a time to, make some relationships in the state of Louisiana, they'll start recruiting better. But, Derek, I think that's one thing you have to look for LSU going forward. Because I don't think LSU can win national championships unless they're dominating in the state in recruiting. Because, no team can win a title by just recruiting its own state, but you got to do well, especially if you're LSU. So that's what I'm looking for from Brian Kelly and that staff.
He is Mitch Light of The Athletic, joining us here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Mitch, appreciate the time as always. We'll do it again soon.
All right, take care, guys.
Mitch Light of The Athletic. Coming up next, we'll get back into the Titans and some things that we talked about earlier, including the defensive back that they signed, where he came from. No, I don't mean Michigan State, but we will discuss that coming up next. We are your racing station, 102.5 and 106.3. The Game is Nashville's home for NASCAR. Tune in this Sunday at 12:30 for the Verizon 200. You can also join me every Sunday morning at 8 for Chasing Checkers as I talk to all the drivers and I get you set for a race weekend. Jeff Burton of NBC Sports will be my guest. NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3. The Game is presented by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Matich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
For the first time in history, the FedEx Cup playoffs will begin at TPC Southwind, August 10th through 14th. Don't miss your chance to watch the top 125 players from the FedEx Cup standings compete for the PGA Tour's ultimate prize, the FedEx Cup. Only 70 players will make it through Memphis and on to the next round of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Daily grounds and upgraded ticket options are on sale now at FedExChampionship.com.
Hiller's Home of the Free is back with more free giveaways than ever. This month, get a free programmable thermostat with select new HVAC systems. Get a free home surge protector with a whole home generator. Or enjoy a free water sensor leak detector with any tankless water heater. Better yet, we'll include interest-free financing and a free Happy Hiller Club membership with these purchases. Celebrate the Home of the Free with us at happyhiller.com.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Harman Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Harman Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Harman. Visit HarmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics at TriStar Summit offers world-class orthopedic care. The doctors at their Hermitage location specialize in general orthopedics, sports medicine, and hip and knee pain and injuries. Get back to enjoying life sooner. Schedule your appointment online at tn.houston.com. Conveniently located in the TriStar Summit Medical Center in Hermitage, right off I-40. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Supper time! Did you know that most commercial dog food has 50 to 64% processed cereal byproducts, even in some premium and organic brands?
I'm veterinarian Dr. Marty Goldstein, and I've saved dogs no one else could with proper nutrition, which led to my development of Nature's Blend, a freeze-dried raw food made with real cuts of meat, omega-3 rich seeds, and superfood veggies and fruit that I created to support your dog's health, happiness, and wellness.
Nature's Blend is made in North America and contains organ meat, some of the most nutritious meats you can give your pet, and it has 0 artificial preservatives, additives, or fillers. For a limited time, save 50% off your first order and receive a free bag of dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/good or text GOOD to 511-511.
I guarantee it with a 100% 90-day return of your purchase price.
Your dog will love the taste of Nature's Blend. Text GOOD to 511-511 today.
Tech fees may apply. You may receive up to 1 additional text. Text stop to opt out.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
How much do you feel you know what Ryan wants on a particular route these days, and do you kind of help translate to that to other guys too? Like, Ryan really likes this here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely just trust built over time, and this off season over the last couple of years, just knowing by Ryan communicating with us, like, hey, on this route, like, the most important thing is you're here, or that you're in this landmark, whatever it is. And it's been awesome just to see that this spring. I feel like there's a lot of growth there, and everybody kind of being on the same page with what he's in.
There we go. Nick Westbrook Akina.
Did Nick start singing there at the end, or was that?
I don't know. Are you playing Nickelback? Is that what we're doing?
Can you imagine in the middle of answering a question at a press conference, like you stop your answer and just start singing a song, karaoke?
Yeah, that'd be good. Nick Westbrook Akina.
I think we got the gist of what he was saying there.
Talking about Ryan Tannehill. Interesting song selection for that. But talking about Ryan Tannehill and getting on the same page with him. We've talked a lot about NWI and what he could mean this year, and I think that he's saying all the right things. It seems like that Tannehill is on the same page with him, which I think is a very good thing. But we're going to see exactly how effective he can be.
Well, I think this will be because the one guy that Ryan feels comfortable with is him. He's the only returning guy, really. Let's just say returning start. He's the only one on that offense. I mean, that has caught, meaningful passes in games. He's the only guy, not the tight end, not Robert Woods or Traylon Burks or the other. It's him. He's the lone guy. So I think he's going to have a really good season for number 3. I truly do. I think he's going to force the Titans to make a decision at the end of the season whether to keep him or allow him to move on. I know they probably got that 4th year they can tender him, I believe. But I think this is the season because you've seen a progression every year. Yeah. Like you've seen it. And I know people got mad at him about the whole Pittsburgh thing. He didn't get depth. I get it happens sometimes. I get it. And Titans fans, you had a right to be upset. But I think this kid has made he's made that progression that you needed to see from a young guy each and every year. And the most important part is that Ryan Tannehill feels comfortable and trusts him. There's a reason why Ryan would go to him in certain particular times in a game, clutch times. Because why? He trusted him. Many people in the stands probably were like, what are you doing? But Ryan trusted that he would catch the ball, be where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. And that you can't take for granted.
He sounds to me like a veteran. That's what I like about how he carries himself. I think that's how you go from being undrafted to not playing a whole lot your first year to making the kind of jump that he made. My big question for him, the next level will be, can he get a little more separation when he's getting more attention? I think he slots really well as the number 3. Mm-hmm. Last year he was forced into having being one of the more main targets because of the obvious when A.J. Brown, Julio Jones-Warner both were not in there. And I thought there were some games where Ryan Tannehill would go back there, and I didn't feel like anybody could get open. Like there was a couple of games where it was him. Des Fitzpatrick was thrown in there. They brought Cody Hollister off of the street late in the season. And so they had a mixture of guys, and you're like, who's going to get open? Who's going to make a play? So can he get to a next level of, I'm getting some attention from the defense, but I can still find a way to get open?
Yeah.
That would be a next level for me.
Well, those moments, I think, will help him this season, where you're talking about a second-year guy last year that was thrust into a position that he shouldn't have been in at all. And probably at times it didn't work out well for him. But I think sometimes you have to go through those phases. The Titans thought enough of him, even though it didn't at times work. They thought enough for him that he comes back and be the third receiver still, but they're still believing that he can get even better.
Yeah, no doubt. The move that they did make today, they signed a defensive back, and John Robinson, when he was on with us yesterday, if you missed that, you can go to theGameNashville.com and subscribe to the Chase, Willy, and D-Mase podcast. Said they'd probably make a move after Buster Skrine retired, but they signed Shakur Brown, a defensive back, played college ball at Michigan State, Derek's alma mater as well, but he spent last year playing 9 games for the Pittsburgh Maulers in the USFL, or I should say he did that this spring. Also spent some time on the practice squad with Kansas City and Detroit last season. So an interesting move by the Titans to bring this guy in, yet another USFL player that has been signed in the NFL.
Is anybody keeping track of how many guys who played in the USFL are in camps with players right now? I'd be interested in knowing that. I haven't looked to see, but I've always been curious, as we said earlier in the show, of what that league could do for players like him, to give him a chance to showcase and earn a job in the best league in the world. You know those leagues are secondary. And next year, there's an interesting question with the XFL trying to make a comeback. You'll have another pool of players. You know, you feel like they should probably get together and merge or something like that. You're not going to have 2 minor leagues, right?
Well, that's what it seems.
But I think, we'll see how the top players in the USFL, what that means if a good number of them make a roster this year.
Well, the con is that you never get a break. It's like you go from the NFL season, have a couple weeks off, then you go to the USFL season or the XFL when it does get going, and then you get a couple weeks, then you're back on the NFL roster. That's the con. The pro is these teams feel, well, he's in football shape. He should be ready to go. I'm pretty sure John Robinson and Vrabel thought about that. This guy is ready to go. He's in shape. He's still in football rhythm. Let's bring him out here. We worked him out. So now we're going to add him to our roster.
So John Robinson was telling us he had worked out a group of guys, and this guy has won the job. We also are wondering, can he be an interesting camp story, or is he just a guy that is there for a look, to have the right numbers? And are they really looking down the road with the retirement of Buster Skrine for a veteran that becomes open at one time or another? Maybe he's not there now, but maybe he's going to be cut and he would be a fit for them because they do lack some experience at cornerback.
Yeah, and I am curious of how active the free agent market will be after cuts because we see it every year that there's some veteran guys that get released,
and there's the waiver.
Yeah, there's the waiver
wire, so the Titans aren't exactly at the top of that thing.
No, and I'm also curious, is it going to be a little more active this year just because GMs are playing the salary cap game because it's, and John talked about that a little bit. How much is it going to continue to go up? Where are they at with things like that? So they could find that veteran out there that gets released.
Well, the good part about this team in particular, and Vrabel he's pushed this and he's preached this. Just because you are an undrafted guy or a 7th round guy or a guy that we bring in free agency, just because we bring you in and you started that spot, we're going to give you every opportunity to win a job on this team. So we're not just bringing you in as a body. Yes, we need the depth, but you can be at the start of camp, you could be 5th on the depth chart. And as we go through camp, you can win yourself a spot on this team. So that's what I truly believe that with Mike Vrabel. I do. He and John Robertson, I believe that they bring guys in and say, I'm giving you an opportunity to make this team. You're not just a body. You got an opportunity to make this team, change everybody's mind around here, and make this team better.
Mike Vrabel said pads are going to go on Monday. Harold Landry spoke to the media and talked about ramping things up with the pads.
How much has this ramp-up period got you guys ready for when the pads do come on?
Yeah, I mean, I think the ramp-up period is important because, you know, no matter how hard you're training, you know, away from the building, when you get back here, I feel like you need that ramp-up period, especially, you know, with the amount of reps, you know, you get throughout practice, you need that build-up period. So, you know, I think it's helpful and beneficial, and I think Braves does him used to, you know, be a player. I think it definitely that helps him make decisions, and I think he does a great job taking care of us, making sure, you know, we're getting the amount of work we need to get in.
Derek, how important is that to, you know, kind of get your body conditioned, and then you put the pads on, which is the extra weight and obviously the hitting that comes with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's critical to these players now that you sort of ease yourself into it because they hadn't been in pads the whole time. Many camps, I don't think they were in pads at all. So to sort of ease these guys back into it and then have that Monday to really get going, I think it's critical. Back, you know, 20 years ago, they didn't operate from that fashion. It was like as soon as you stepped on the field, you came outside with your pads on. There was no, okay, we're going to ease our way into this. We're going to do, you know, a week of no pads and then turn on the pads the next following week. No. It was as soon as we step out on that field, we're going to have some form of pads on and we're going. So for these guys, I think it's good because you just don't want to, you know, throw these guys in pads when they haven't been in pads, you know, basically OTAs or nothing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Coming up next, there's been some contracts handed out in the NFL, including one yesterday for a prominent name. We will discuss that coming up next here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, Preds fans.
Sliding across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Bill's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with three-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Have you seen the selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches they now have at Genesis Diamonds? If not, prepare to be amazed.
If people really know the watch world, they come in and they're in shock. They're like, I cannot believe you have this selection here. They're able to see them, touch them, feel them.
Meet Genesis watch expert Charlie Rivers, who says over the past few years, Genesis buyers have scoured the world to build a collection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, including all the hard-to-find models.
Daytonas, Pandas, Sky Dwellers, a huge selection of Submariners, Hulks, Kermits, anything that you could ever possibly want. We have every luxury pre-owned Rolex that we have here. We ensure that it's in pristine condition.
So come in today and find the timepiece of your dreams at Genesis. Or if you already own a Rolex and are looking to trade for a different model or even sell it, Genesis can help you get top dollar.
If you have a Rolex, definitely bring it in. I would love to see it and do a complimentary evaluation on it and see what we can do for you.
Genesis Diamonds, now with one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time rushing leader and Hall of Famer.
Now you can get relief from pain without harmful medications and surgery. Call my guys at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for pro athletes, but to people like you.
At QC Kinetics, we're seeing patients every day who suffer from chronic joint pain but who desperately wanted to avoid surgery. surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on a job, and patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. QC Kinetics, 249-4024.
Family Leisure is having a come out and play sale.
That's right. Family Leisure is inviting you to come out and play.
Family Leisure has hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. DIY pools start at only $16.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed.
More than 100 spas in stock and incoming, starting at only $29.99.
Hundreds of sets of patios in stock and on sale.
The Sabre Infrared Grill in stock and on sale at only $11.99. Come out and play at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Sunday.
Rocketing down the front stretch, all the way into turn number 1.
The NASCAR Cup Series will head to the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard. Coverage begins at 1 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Back here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Stillman and Company coming up at the top of the hour as they'll talk more training camp as the pads will go on Monday. But some contracts being handed out in the NFL. Well, some have, some haven't been. Obviously, we know the Kyler Murray situation and what has happened there. But DK Metcalf was one wide receiver for the Seahawks that was wanting a new deal, and he got that a 3-year contract extension that was handed out by them yesterday. And Derek, a pretty good deal for him as he is able to re-sign for $72 million as DK Metcalf. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was an extension, and he ended up getting $30 million in signing bonus, which is the highest ever for a receiver. Until probably next year or sometime in the next couple of months. But
is that more than A.J. Brown got?
Signing bonus-wise, yes. I don't know how it shakes out as far as average because I don't know what he was making his last year because it's just a 3-year extension, so added on to his last year, which is a 4-year contract. I'm sure in total it's a 2 or 3 year contract rather than a 4. But, I mean, this is a guy they needed to have, I think. This is a guy that, he's put up big touchdown totals for them. I think he had 12 last year. They need that big physical presence on the outside. He's a deep ball threat. With he and Tyler Lockett, they are, one of the best 1-2 combos in the National Football League right now. And he's coming off of he didn't have 1,000 yards last year, but he's had 1,000 yards before. But he got you. So he's a red zone target. He's a big guy, red zone target, fast guy. So without a known commodity at quarterback, they needed to keep him. Mm-hmm. Maybe this attracts someone like Garoppolo.
That's
having those two guys on the outside, bringing Garoppolo in, locking him up on the outside, bringing Garoppolo in. Now, he's not, Russell Wilson, but he is a guy that can command an offense and win you football games.
Yeah, and you've got Metcalf and you've got Lockett, a really good veteran on the other side. You got some weapons there. So now what do you think if you're Deebo Samuel and you see this? Like it has worked really well. Like we were questioning, can you really move the needle when you drum up this media attention? Hey, we're changing the market. Mm-hmm. We're this group of wide receivers. We saw what happened with A.J. Brown and the decision the Titans made. They thought around $20 million was right. Mm-hmm. They pitched it to him. He wasn't buying it. He wanted more, so they moved on. We'll see what happens with the Eagles. Now you have DK Metcalf signing a very comparable deal, even though arguably he hasn't been as valuable as A.J. Brown, I would say. A.J. Brown being more of the key number one. Metcalf has been more with Lockett, 1-1A, I would say. Roughly the same amount of production. But now here you're Deebo Samuel saying, I'm more valuable than any of these guys.
Yeah.
So he's sitting out waiting for the 49ers to come to the table. What's he going to get?
Yeah, and I wonder, and he's also basically said he doesn't want to be the dual threat anymore. You know, he just wants to be a receiver and doesn't want to be that running back dual threat, which I don't know if that's the right move for him, because I think he could probably try and get more money if he does have that dual threat ability.
But I think his main deal is, listen, I'm a receiver. I'm one of the best receivers in the National Football League. I want to be, paid along the lines of Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, these guys that are getting top-tier money, A.J. Brown. Obviously, he probably thinks he needs more than A.J. Brown. Based on production, yes, he deserves more than A.J. Brown. So it doesn't hurt him that DK gets a contract like this, with the signing bonus being $30 million, which is the highest signing bonus of any receiver in NFL history. So, again, just like Lamar Jackson, this only helps. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And San Francisco don't, especially with them ushering in a new quarterback, they don't want to lose Deebo Samuel.
No, they can't afford
Exactly. They can't afford. Now with
he's their best offensive weapon.
Trey Lance at quarterback. They can't afford
They've got to have him.
Yeah, they got to have him.
And they've got to have him in the same role, I think.
And to be honest with you, I think John Lynch is kind of in a career-defining situation as a general manager. I mean, we know he's a Hall of Fame player, and I think he's done an okay job at GM, but depending on what he gets for Jimmy G and when he does that, moving up to get Trey Lance, was that the right move? Is Trey Lance that franchise quarterback? And then how he handles Deebo. I mean, that to me, this is a big time for John Lynch at GM. I saw an article in the USA Today with the headline that is this: Lamar Jackson is backing the Ravens into a corner in the most respectful way possible. Lamar is in camp. He is practicing, but he doesn't have a new contract yet. He's representing himself. Do we think that this is going to get done before camp is over?
See, I think it's an interesting contrast with Metcalf coming out publicly and saying, I'm not practicing. Deebo Samuel saying, I'm not practicing until we get a new deal. Metcalf, they had a quick reaction, or maybe they just thought they were far enough along, like, okay, don't worry about it. We'll get it done. But Lamar Jackson, kind of like Jeffrey Simmons, is playing and practicing while he's negotiating. And by the way, he is his own agent. He does not have an agent, so he's doing the negotiation on his own. So I think this is a really interesting case to watch.
Yeah, it is, but he's going to win the public battle. Lamar, he's going to win it. Why? Because he's doing everything he's supposed to do. He didn't say anything during mini camps and all this other stuff. He just said, hey, listen, y'all know I want a contract. I'm not, I'm just, y'all know what the deal is. And first day of camp, who's there? Lamar Jackson. Who's on the field underneath center? Lamar Jackson. Who wants a new contract? Lamar Jackson. Everybody else, coming out publicly, scrubbing stuff off of their Instagram about teams and all this other stuff. And what is Lamar Jackson doing? Being a professional and saying, listen, I'm just going to do my job. I know I deserve to get paid. Y'all know I deserve to get paid. I don't need to get on social media and go against a team and organization that I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
So when it's all said and done, even when people talk about Lamar Jackson and his contract situation, they don't say anything bad about him. They just talk about it. Why? Because he's doing it the right way. He's going about his business, but everybody knows eventually he will get the contract, and he will, if not the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, he will be the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
That is
until somebody else signs a deal.
Do you think, though, that with something this important, his second contract, this is where he's going to cash in, and the fact that they've built the offense around him, he runs so well, all of the stuff that people have gone backwards and forwards about his skill set, is he right to negotiate on his own behalf, or would he be in better position? Would a veteran agent help him in this situation?
That's his. I don't know. I really don't, because to him, this is my last big contract. So if
Lamar,
I can, Lamar, if I can negotiate this contract on my own, and he's doing it on his own, but believe me, he has people that that's looking over everything and making sure everything is right. But he's not paying someone 3 to 4% of the whole deal. Again, I've said this before. He wants to be able to pay someone a flat fee for a contract that he knows he's supposed to make in between these dollars. So it's not like, some contract that we're got to really work to put together. You know what he's worth.
Okay, let me ask it this way. What about just sitting across from the table from your employer and you're hashing out your strengths and weaknesses where, you have to, you try to take the personal part aside, but it's hard, right? I mean, they're telling you this is why we can't offer you this many dollars. You're only worth this because of X, Y, Z. And you're like, wait a minute. I'm the most valuable guy on the team. I'm the quarterback. I've done all of this stuff. How do you try to separate that? Because that's what you have to do, right?
Yeah, but I don't think the Ravens are approaching it in that way. You got to be strategic.
You have to be smart how you go about it.
Yeah, because you're talking to the guy you want to be your quarterback. You're not talking to an agent.
Right.
An agent, you can say anything.
Yeah.
You're talking to the guy that you want to lead you to a Super Bowl.
Well,
so you got to be very delicate on how you approach that. And he knows it.
Sure, and I am curious because you know the people he's dealing with. I mean, you know Eric DeCosta. You know Ozzy's kind of taking a step back at this point, but Eric was there when you were there in the front office. So I mean, from everything you've ever told me about that front office and that organization, they're fair.
Yeah, they're fair. They're straight shooters. Ozzy has always been fair and a straight shooter, and DeCosta's the same way. So that's why I think Lamar feels comfortable enough with that organization that he believes, okay, I can do this on my own because I know they will be fair. Now, whatever that number is, I don't know, but I think once it comes out, it will be a number that's fair for Lamar and fair for that organization.
Another player that did get a big contract that we talked about was Kyler Murray. However, there's been a change to the contract. We'll discuss that coming up next. It's Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Join 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and Newton Motor Group this summer to help kids in Middle Tennessee. We're teaming up with Souls for Souls to provide shoes to children experiencing homelessness in Nashville and the surrounding area for back to school. Our goal is to raise $20,000, which will provide 1,000 pairs of shoes for kids. To help, go to thegamenashville.com/shoes. Let's do some good this summer. Newton Motor Group is a proud sponsor of Souls for Music City. Newton Motor Group, the best car deals in Nashville. Start at Newton. Visit thegamenashville.com/shoes.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Scattered showers and thunderstorms possible this afternoon, but it will be cooler this weekend. Highs fall to the 80s. It's hot and humid again next week.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
For the first time, saddle up in Smashville. 6:30 tomorrow at Nissan Stadium for WWE SummerSlam. See undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns face Brock Lesnar in a last man standing match. Liv Morgan defends the SmackDown Women's Championship against Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Pat McAfee vows to shut down Happy Corbin and more. 3 seats are still available and tickets start at $25 at Ticketmaster.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
This September, the Chainsmokers hit Music City at the Blended Wine and Music Festival. 24 bands, 2 stages, 1 weekend, all under the Nashville skyline. Performances by the Chainsmokers, Loud Luxury, Sick Kick, Fetty Wap, Breland, and more. September 10th and 11th, the ultimate social experience drops in Music City. Enjoy a massive 100-foot wine tent, culinary village, and wellness lounge. Get tickets now at blendedfestival.com.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the summer fun sale July 29th through August 8th and get 35% off paints and stains with prices starting at $27.29. That means 35% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, 35% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your local Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexrode.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
What do you read into the independent study clause in the Kyler Murray contract? It's very interesting to read about. It's like you can't play video games like independent study is. No TV on, no other people in there. You're working. So what do we read in?
I don't think there's much room for interpretation here. Chris Mortensen had a report. I mean, listen, Chris Mortensen had a report around the Super Bowl that there was concerns about his leadership and work ethic, being selfish and not having the work ethic and study habits that they would want out of a starter. I mean, that was Mort's report around the Super Bowl, as people were kind of forecasting that he was going to get a new contract. And, there were some people that have been screaming recently that was just the team at the time using Mort to, drive down the value of Kyler Murray, which is complete nonsense.
Tim Hasselback joining us earlier this week talking about Kyler Murray. The clause that was put in the contract that basically said he had to study 4 hours a week, watch film. And if he did not do that, and there was evidence that he did not do that, then that could void the contract. And that, has since been removed
but
by
you heard
the
Tim,
Arizona Cardinals.
So you had sort of a great tidbit there by Tim going back to the Super Bowl well before they really got to work on the contract, sort of planting the seed even as far back as February that this was an issue. And Tim went on to say, look, this was, this clause was born out of that, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason that clause was put in there. And despite the attempts today or whenever that was, Kyler Murray coming forward and saying, here are all the things I've done.
Yeah, here are my accolades.
This is ridiculous that you would think that I don't do anything like that. Well, he's trying to convince the media and the fans, but the fact is this was discussed behind the scenes, negotiated. You came up with this clause. So it's not the fans and the media's narrative. It's your own team, your own surrounding people. And this goes back to Mort's report in February. So this has been out there for a long time. So it's up to him now to change the narrative.
I mean, you can't blame, fans for, assuming that you don't study enough at that position. You can't blame media members for asking a question and being a little concerned that this clause is in your contract. You can't be mad at anybody outside of the organization and yourself and your agent, because you can be mad at the organization that they put it in there, but be mad at yourself that they had to put this in here, and then be mad at your agent that you had to sign it because it was in the contract to get your money. So don't make it seem like, oh, this is a media thing and a fan thing that they're getting on me, because it's not. If it wasn't in your contract, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Well,
but it is in your contract.
And here's the thing. It's very simple for me how he can make this go away. Go out and win games.
Exactly.
If you're winning, you get them to the playoffs, everybody's going to forget about this because you're doing your job. Now, the thing with Kyler has been he's such a dynamic player. And, I mean, you remember last year how they carved up the Titans, and or was that 2 years ago?
That was last year.
That was last year opening day.
They all run together. But last year, and then, the first part of the season, he's really, really good. They look like a really, really good team, and then they fall off. And that's kind of been his story of as you get going along, he falls off. The team falls off. He got hurt.
His best weapon in the midst of the season.
Yep.
And now he won't, Hopkins won't be available game of the season because he's suspended.
They don't have Christian Kirk. They brought in Hollywood Brown, so there's new Chase to chew on. And that is, will it matter long term, essentially, that they actually took away the clause? Like, none of us really care. That they weren't gonna fire him for having 3 hours of study as opposed to 4 hours study. That was put in for a purpose, to send a message. And like you said, there's all kinds of theories on why that was leaked, but it was leaked for one reason or another. So now, even though they pull back and they have this statement, hey, I didn't know it was going to cause this kind of a distraction, let's just take the clause away and not worry about it. The fact is, we all know that clause was there. So will it matter if he has a couple of games where some people like Tim or people that go on all the networks and break down film, you know what's going to happen. If he has a bad game, they're going to say, well, here's the read. He should have had this read and not that read. This is going to follow him regardless of this move today.
Yeah, and here's an interesting theory that Pro Football Talk has. I was reading this earlier, that the Cardinals basically rescinded rip up the homework clause in the contract because they don't want him to change agents. Because right now he and Cliff Kingsbury have the same agent. They don't want him to change agents because if he does that, then the new agent doesn't get any piece of this contract. So therefore they're afraid that they'd be pushing to redo the contract sooner rather than later. I think that's an interesting theory.
Yeah, but, I mean, if you truly believe that clause, that you did that clause out of good faith, then why take it out? I'm not worried about if you change agents. That's up to you if you change agents. It has nothing to do with us as a team. Only thing it has to do with us is we may have to negotiate with somebody else later on down the line. But if I truly believe you don't put in enough hours as a quarterback, I'm leaving that clause in there. I don't care about this agent stuff, because if you're not logging enough hours, it will show on the field. And in a few years, if you come to me and ask for a new contract and those numbers hadn't gotten any better and we hadn't gotten any better as a team, I'm telling you, bye-bye. See you. I draft another guy.
Junie on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, says Kyler Murray is a sensitive man-child. The guy called a press conference over media and Twitter criticism. Red flag for me.
I did think he should have. What he should have stuck with, Derek, was what you brought up right away, that an explanation of, look, just because I'm not some bookworm and spending overnight hours, tons of hours in the classroom, doesn't mean I'm not preparing. There's different ways to absorb the material and learn how to, get the game plan in, look at the film, understand the opponent. There's different ways of doing that. If he'd have emphasized that a little bit more, and he did bring it up, but it was also woven in there with, look at what I did in high school. Hey, I was a great baseball player.
And he's right. He's right on all fronts.
We know that.
But I don't care what you did in high school.
You don't need to convince us. We know he was the first pick in the draft. I mean, we all had pretty good accolades in high school, even yours truly.
So
no, I don't need to put that out there.
I don't care what you did in high school.
I was a
what
really
you're
good
doing
manager,
now.
And
look at you, you're still managing.
I'm still. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
that's what I do. I forgot to do this, so I'm sorry, Nick. Caller number 3, 615-737-1025. You will win a pair of tickets to 3 Ice, North America's premier 3-on-3 ice hockey league, which will be at Bridgestone Arena on Saturday, August 6th.
And just while we have a little ice theme here, John Klingberg, 1-year deal for $7 million for the Ducks. He didn't like the market. There's no way to look at it otherwise if you're John Klingberg. He thought he was going to get 7 years. He thought he was going to get a lot of money. He thought contenders would be fighting over him. He was probably the best defenseman on the market, but nothing was really right. He goes to a rebuilding team for 1 year. That was a really interesting move. And rumor has it that there are some trade talks behind the scenes going on with Mr. Patrick Kane, who has 1 year left. We'll see how that shakes out, but apparently Dallas is a team that has been talking.
Interesting.
I thought I was going to be a basketball player. Look at what happened. It's not always what we think.
I think you need to call a press conference.
I think it worked out.
Yeah, it did.
By the way, Dwight Howard apparently was walking around Nashville yesterday and wanted to try out for WWE. So
Dwight Howard was in town?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
That was the rumor. So there you go. That's going to do it for us, but stick around. Stillman and Company coming up next. A full practice report from Jared and Caroline, and some names have stood out to Jared and Caroline. They will discuss that coming up here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Heads up. 106.3 FM is a new way to hear 102.5 The Game from downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and on